I'm getting better at this. Eee! Let's fucking go! Scriptily. I love you. Perfect way at the end of the night. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. What's up, biatch? What's up? Creepy fam. Ahoy, me mateys. Thank you for the constant uploads. You are welcome. Thank you for the constant, loyal viewership. I appreciate you more than you know. Right now I'm doing the e-girl heart thing with their hands, where they look at the camera and they do the heart and they bring it to, maybe they bring it to their chest, or me personally, I bring it to my eyeball. It's the only way. With one eye closed, I'm looking right at you. That's how, like, when I'm trying to, like, spy on somebody, or if I'm stalking somebody at the mall, that's usually how I try to stare at them from a distance. So they think that maybe I'm like a pirate who's, like, watching them from a ways away with my scope. What the fuck am I talking about? I don't know. Anyways, hello and welcome. Good to motherfucking see ya. Are these hot jams loud enough for you? Should we hot jam them higher? Should we jam them down your throat? David De La Rosa with the first dono of the night. With a $2 arena says, hi Joe, how you doing, buddy? I'm doing great. I'm doing stupendiously. Stock or stock? Kind of like beanstalk. You know? You know when you're just like growing and growing to the sky? I'm gonna stalk her like a store. Unfortunately, we have a supply chain issue right now, so it's gonna be very hard to do. I can't stalk you right now. We're out of items. Caitlin with the 2 vibes, baby vibes.
Hey, listen.
Yee yee. Yee yee. Yee. You're awesome. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Nate. It's good to see you. Jacob Bowling with the $10 arena says, Buttersuck Cult, listen to me. Joel has made everyone in the Buttersuck Cult special. Everyone has a special place in my heart. No one is better than anyone. Everyone is equal. Thank you. Thank you. And good night. Night. As I ascend into the rafters. That'd been funny if Jesus ascended back to heaven, but like he did it inside like a Walmart. And as he was going up, he just like, rather than like becoming ethereal, he just started like getting like smashed into the ceiling, like, oh, wait, stop, wait, God, wait. And just like smashes through the roof. Oh! What if he was an alien and he got fucking literally abducted? If you invite me to your wedding, would I come? Fuck yeah, dude. I'd crash that shit. Crash my van into it and ruin it. Squawk, squawk one. Coming in hot. Squawk. Just walking on the water of the aquarium section of a Walmart prior to ascending. Splish splash. Jesus, quit showing off. Jacob with the 5. Yeah, you keep watch, Jacob. I appreciate that. We cannot allow them to invade. I need you to be like Bloons Tower Defense. Which, if anybody hasn't played that game yet, it's fucking sweet. It's very addictive. I think they're up to number 6. But just imagine those are the sax bots sneaking their way into the stream. Thinking they can pull a fast one on us. They think we're down bad, don't they? Well, I got news for you. Robo ladies and or robo fellows. My mind is clear. Never knew your voice wasn't that of a guy in his mid-30s. Never knew your voice wasn't. Sorry, I was like having trouble understanding. It was like, for some reason, my head like programmed as like double negatives for some reason. Never knew your voice wasn't that of a guy in his mid-30s. I guess it still kind of is. I mean, I'll be 32 in June, so it's interesting though. I feel like people's voices don't really change much. Like they do change, but I feel like it takes like a long ass time before your voice like really makes that transition to like old man where it starts to get gravelly. Maybe I just need to smoke more meth or something like that. Dirty too. I know. I feel like when I turned 30, the stream when I turned 30 wasn't that long ago. Everyone was like, welcome to Dirty 30s. And now it's been 2 years after. What the fuck's up with that? Oh well. I don't mind getting older. Every year I get older, I get stronger. I get stronger. I'm an old soul. An old bull. Can you hit that like button while we wait? Hey, if you want if you want to be hitting that like button, that's up to you, baby. That's your free will. That's the one choice you get in this world. It's the one amount of autonomy I'll ever hand out to anybody. Is their absolute freedom, their God-given right to smash that motherfucking like button, baby. YouTube woke you up with this notification. Now your stories are going to help me sleep. Yeah, welcome back, baby. Wake up. I want to put you to sleep. Jacob, you're right. And thank you for the 10. If the sex bots don't want to read this, but they need to see it. Joel and Jacob are the Buttersaw Council members for life. And if you want Joel, you have to go through the Cerebral Assassin. Yeah. Jacob is like the mini boss in Zelda before you fight the bigger boss, which isn't quite me because I'm like Ganondorf, and I guess the bigger boss would be like Hawk and the other mods. And you gotta hit him 3 times, the magic of 3, the Trinity. What do we mean by the sex bots? So once in a while there's these random usernames that pop in that are just like these like, I don't even know. They're just like random generated, like click here for hot babes and chicks and fellas. And it's just very clearly like a scam thing, but I don't even know how they plan on scamming anybody, you know what I mean? Oh, there's no Buttersaw Council anymore. Oh, that's right, we disbanded it. It's gone. Thank you for bringing me down to earth. I was starting to have a power trip thinking that I was the head of it. I'm no longer Ganondorf. I'm more of that weirdo with like the green tunic. Do I have hundreds of stories in my inbox? I do, yeah. That shit is piled to the brim. Please do send yours in. Also on Reddit too. Reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial, or over email, which is a lot of people's preference because it's simpler. You don't have to make an account, even though Reddit is nice for making accounts because you don't have to verify it. So a lot of people make throwaway accounts, which to me I think is kind of like a weird thing of Reddit, but at the same time I kind of understand. Anyways, the email is letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. It's also the name of my dojo. Never trust a man in a tunic. You really shouldn't. The last one to make that mistake. Receive the full wrath of my ability to make balloon animals with my mouth. You see a lot of my stories on Martin Animations. Yeah. You know what? That reminds me. I haven't checked in on old Martin in a while.
Hey, listen.
I feel like creepy corner. Housemate.
I started reality.
One evening, I was the only child was out of the room for a
Looks
few
like he
minutes.
uses Unit and Southern Cannibal for that one. Whatever. No point in getting bent out of shape over milky spilts. Say Dinkelberg. Dinkelberg. Jacob with the 5 says, I'm sorry, Joel. The council no longer exists, but you and I are Buttersuck cult members for life. We both got matching bicep tattoos. And Jacob also has Motorhead. Actually on time today. Well, welcome. You had a great time celebrating Mother's Day with your mom siblings today. I bought food for us all and asking my siblings to help me pick it up. Let's go. Oh yeah, how was everybody's Mother's Day? I hope that you got to see and say that you loved your mom if they're still around with us. If not, I'll be your mom today. Now clean your fucking room. Oh yeah, happy birthday, Mr. Schick. Everybody say happy, everybody sing happy birthday. And also spank Schick for, everybody gets one spank on Schick for his birthday. He now has special privileges in society that he's earned by getting older. Ever read a story that actually scared you, like it made you sleep with the lights on? Maybe like the paranormal ones. Maybe that's why I stopped the paranormal stories. They were just too dang spooky. Your birthday is December 2nd, sadly. Well, that's not sad. It means you got plenty of time to plan your surprise party for yourself. Celebrated with my mom and grandmother, so it was great. Plus, my dog survived a very nasty virus. Oh, jeez. That's crazy. Did they drink something? I don't want to... I guess oh, Geezer, it's good to see you. We appreciate you. How's my day today, though? I've been chilling in my room all day, gave my mom a gift. Tried Nitro Pepsi for the first time and read some books I rented from my country's local library. Oh, that's cool. That's the cool thing about books is like, I don't know, you can just find random ass ones, and if you're really into them, you just can find your mind in some crazy world somewhere else out of nowhere. You don't have to worry about like millions of dollars being poured into some production value. You can just have that happen in your brain. But mine was good today. We actually celebrated yesterday because things were a little busy for her today. But we went out to eat. I actually got her an orchid. Matching orchids. We're going to be an orchid family. And I think that's like her first, so I'm interested to see how she takes care of it differently. Jacob with the 2, spend time with your family. That's good. Good to hear. And just in case of the 5, Mother's Day was awesome. We both sat on the couch and wondered if a hot dog is a freaking sandwich. Also, good pick for the theme today. Found footage is cool too.
Hey, listen.
Yeah, hopefully. I saw Lazy Masquerade did some CCTV camera footage stuff. So that's probably a pretty sick video. You listening to this at work right now? I hope you're having a good shift.
Hey, listen.
I don't like reading, that's why I love this place. Yeah, hey, I'll do it for you. Do I have children? Nope, just got a cat. I don't know where he's at right now, though. He's been wild ever since he's been on the wet food. Pretty been licking any plastic lately. He is not, no. He's not really into the microplastics. He seems to really enjoy his wet food, but to the point where it's kind of like I don't know, he goes crazy for it. Just anytime we're in the kitchen, he's just going nuts, or he's mewing for it. But I got him some of those greeny treats as well, because I heard it's good to get a little bit of dry food just to help like clean their teeth and for dental hygiene. Hector Linko, thank you so much. Thank you. You work at a motel. Well, this will be perfect. Yeah, we got 8 motel stories tonight for your listening ears, your listening ass. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good time. Also, what do you guys... I also have in the works some urban legend stories. And I don't know, what is that like when you see... If you were to see an urban legends video pop out, would you be more excited for that or a motel stories video? You know what I mean? Because it's a little bit unconventional. Andrew A with the 10 says, great content, man. You're amazing with the work. Been great for my slow job and late nights when I want to listen and relax. Some creep me out, but most you're relaxing. Much love, man. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate you. Good to see you. Thank you so much. And Jacob with the juice says, Joel, you and Southern Cannibal should collaborate. We should. It's been a while. I think we've done it in the past, but it definitely has been a bit of time. Willing to bet that Let's Read spoils that lovable kitten of his. Just a little bit. I like to pick him up and just roll him around like a noodle. Urban Legend Death. Okay. I wasn't sure how people would react to Urban Legend. Urby Leggies. How frequent do I stream? I stream every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, with one Sunday out of the month with no stream, just because the Monday video for that once a month is like a compilation of stuff. Little brother Ave. It's his birthday. Still trying to track down the creepypasta where the gal was kidnapped and the man fed her spaghetti with her own meat from her legs. Awesome story, still looking for it. Yeah, I recall that one, but I forget which video that would be in. If that was like a... I don't know, like a normal compilation style. Did you know that Motel 6 allows pets? I did not know that. I wonder if you have to pay extra. Rachel Stevens with the 10 says, I'm closing manager at work today, still at work, but I got to spend the morning with my daughter today, my first Mother's Day. Oh, wow. I hope you had a great time with your mama for Mother's Day. Thank you, Rachel. That's crazy. First Mother's Day ever. That is a monumental day. I hope they got you something. Probably a big stinky diaper. That's awesome. Yeah, Graveyard Stories. I have a few. I think I have 2 volumes of that, I'm fairly certain. At least 1 volume. If you search back through the channel. First time catching one of these. Well, welcome, Lilith. Welcome, welcome. For the Urban Legends video or stream, we also got another minute before we kick off the story, so appreciate you guys being here. Share this out if you'd be so kind. I'd love that you read one legend from each country. Just select anywhere from 7 to 15 countries and read stories for that. Oh, that'd be good, yeah. Like local folklore stuff. I think the difficult stuff when it comes to picking content is just like picking stuff that, like, you know, the people that already watch the channel understand or are like cool with, but that like new people would be interested in as well, you know what I mean? Is lasagna spaghetti cake? Fuck yeah, it is. Honestly, I feel like for my birthday, I'd much rather a lasagna than like a normal cake. Do you just start to remember some of your frequent listeners on stream? I do, yeah. I definitely usually recognize most names from seeing them be here so much. Like, I forget who it is, but there's one person that comments on like every video like first on the YouTube videos. I don't think they come in the streams, but they always just say nut. I just always think that's really funny for some reason. Nut. Hey Gabby, what's going on? I'd like to revive the Buttersock Cult Council by joining as a member of the Cults Council. Oh man, we'd have to take a vote, but it won't be for another 300 years. Do I watch sports? I do watch the NFL. My barber asked if I watched NBA, and I don't watch the NBA. I like basketball, I like playing it, but I don't really enjoy watching it that much. Unexplained mysteries. I do have quite a few mystery videos out. Carlisha, thank you. Love you as well. Appreciate you. That's so funny that you say that. I literally had a dream. We had a call party and your cake looked like a cake, but it was lasagna. That would be amazing. Do I recognize you, Jada? I do, yeah. I see all your faces. I've got eyes in these hills. You're an NFL fan too, nice. Yeah, it's just fun to watch, you know. Favorite NFL team? I can't say it. Do I like hockey? I do like hockey. I just, it's one of those sports that is really fun to watch, but I, for some reason, just never think to watch it, you know what I mean? It wasn't like part of my like culture growing up kind of thing, you know? Any game you can score 100 points and lose is broken. Well, that's the thing, is like watching basketball was always so boring every time they scored. It's like, I'm sure if you played the game, it would be interesting. It's like, oh, look at his moves and stuff, but there's very little, I mean, it's like, you know, it's just like very little contact, you know? Joel, I Am Legend or iRobot? I feel like I liked I Am Legend more. iRobot, I think I only saw like one time. But I remember like the opening of that movie was frustrating because it was like just an advertisement for whatever shoe they were trying to promote. Sheena Bud with the 10 says you should do a Michigan compilation. We have a Bermuda-like triangle, and there's the Edmund Fitzgerald mystery too. Okay. I feel like did I talk about Edmund Fitzgerald at one point? I'm not sure, but yeah, I'd like to know more about this Bermuda Triangle in Michigan. Alright, friends, we're going to switch over to our spooky reading screen. And kick things off here a bit, huh? Whoa. Whoa. Rat with a Bat. I don't know if I recognize Rat with a Bat. I like that name, though. I'll remember it now. Jacob with the 5 says the council is dead, but the Butterscotch cult will be immortal. Immortal. Mortal. iRobot, more like I slapped Chris Rock.
Hey, listen.
Yeah. I wonder how Will Smith is doing. I mean, I assume his career is pretty much like on the fritz, or at least on pause right now. I think he can make a comeback. He just needs to be in some marketable movies. And did I recognize you, Zelda? I do. Yes, yes. Especially after like if it's a unique name and a unique picture, it's just easier to remember. I have to go clean cat litter. Nobody break Joel while I'm gone. That sounded threatening. I'm threatened. I feel threatened. Didn't grow up with hockey either, and now in Nashville we throw catfish in the ice. Love. You throw catfish in the ice? Oh. Okay, like whenever something bad's going on, everybody throws like... That seems gross. Joel, would it be wrong if I matched with my physics professor on Tinder?
Mischievous dog.
There might be a mild conflict of interest there. if you're currently taking the class. But hey, makes for an exciting 50 Shades of Grey style novel. Also, I'm going to assume that you're in like grad school or something. Andrew A. Welcome to the Butterscotch Cult. You now have access to bonus content. How did you do in the gym? No gym today, but I did like 3 days this week. I've been just doing, CrossFit cardio stuff, and, squats still good, other stuff like that. The only bad thing about CrossFit is not a lot of like chest stuff, so I feel like I'm almost gonna have to train that like separately just to maintain the aesthetic. But yeah, I'm trying to get back into the CrossFit crap again just because, I don't know, it just feels good to sweat, you know what I mean? And I'm kind of just like over the really big strength gain stuff. I'm kind of over the whole bodybuilding concept. I just want like something I can just show up to, stay in shape, and just keep moving. You know what I mean? For us non-members, we can form the Buttersock Junior cult. Yeah. You guys can all pretend to be my voice. What was your senior quote? Yeah, something about 9/11. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't remember. Jacob with the 5 says, Joel recognizes me because I have the nickname of the Cerebral Assassin. That's honestly, when I see the name Jacob Bowling, I don't even read it that way. I just read, it's like the Matrix. Like you see other letters, and these letters form a cerebral assassin. Okay. I'm trying to remember where to start. Because 2 of these are true crime, which is cool, but I'll put them at the end probably. Alright, here we go. Oh yes, we are starting the stories right now.
Hey, listen.
Back when I was in college, I used to work nights at my uncle's motel just outside of Baton Rouge. It was a pretty sweet gig for the most part. I was already a total night owl during the summers, so instead of staying home with my parents, getting on their nerves, and being bored stiff during the midnight hours, I got to watch movies, read comic books, order takeout, and get paid for the whole thing. I remember those times with a lot of nostalgia, to be honest, but every so often, I think about this one night where I happened across one of the creepiest things I'd ever seen. It might even be the creepiest thing I'd ever even heard of, too, mainly because of what it might have entailed and how many unanswered questions it left me with. It started with the motel's fire alarm going off. The fire alarm automatically alerted the fire department, so officially speaking, all I had to do was make sure all the guests evacuated properly. But then unofficially, with it being my uncle's only form of livelihood and him being terrible at making his insurance payments, it was always an unwritten rule that whoever was on duty would have to try their darndest to put the fire out before the whole friggin' place burned down. So, that's what I did. Once I saw smoke billowing out of one of the rooms, I ran up there with my fire extinguisher, kicked in the door, and was relieved when I saw that the fire was basically a small one in the center of the room. I just let rip on that thing with my extinguisher, then within a couple of seconds, the fire was out and I'd saved the day. Obviously, I didn't pay much attention to what else was going on in the room, and the fact that there was no one in it didn't faze me because I figured they evacuated like everyone else. My uncle had already been alerted of the fire, and he's been ringing the motel's phone like crazy, and boy did I feel like a hero telling him that I basically saved his entire income by putting the fire out before it could spread. He then asked me to check on the actual damage before the fire department showed, which was still going. Fuck. I got defeated by choking on my own spit. Michelle Bell with the 5 says, hope all is well. Much love from Colorado. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Good to see you.
Listen.
I hope things are going well in Colorado. And Sheena Bud with the 5 says, it's called the Lake Michigan Triangle. The Fitzgerald sank in 75, and they have no idea why or how. It was there one moment, then gone the next. Interesting. That's weird. I'll have to look into that. Lake Michigan Triangle. And MT with the 5 says, enjoy your dirty 30s, Joel, because next are the oh lordy 40s. True. And how? Any scary stories of my own? Yeah, a few here and there. He then asked me to check on the actual damage before the fire department showed, which was still going to be a while, hence why he'd always asked me to be Johnny on the spot with an extinguisher if there was ever a fire. So, I do as I'm told, heading back up to the room while reassuring the parking lot's congregation of guests that everything's going to be fine and that I put the fire out. Only when I get back to the room do I realize that the fire has been set in one of the small metal trash cans that was in each of the room's trash can. What? Only when I get back to the room do I realize that the fire had been set in one of the small metal trash cans that was in each of the room's trash cans. Is there like a separate can within a can? Trash canception? What the fuck? You want to see a vid on the Casey White thing as I live in Alabama and fearing for my life? What's the Casey White thing? This chat is wild. Yeah, they do be a little wild at times. Joel, can you do a video on Canadian horror stories, please, for a long devoted Canadian fan? I do feel like I do have Canadian stories on the channel, because I do recall. I think I have Canadian ghost stories as one, and then one, maybe not a designated true scary story video for Canadian. I'll have to look into that. But in case anybody didn't know, there is a little search thing on the far right of a YouTube channel that you can click on and then like look specifically up a certain topic by like typing the keywords in. Explain the difference between a hotel and a motel. A motel, smaller version of a hotel. Well, you see, a hotel, everybody. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I think a motel is like smaller, or like definitely not as like fancy as a hotel, but I'm not sure of the specifics. I have unsubbed due to questionable whatever, man. I don't know what to say. Filling a job application next to me and making noises in response to this chat like a maniac. Going, yes, of course. Of course. What's my favorite snackies? Oh, you know what I ate today? Was this like powdered peanut butter. And like I love peanut butter, but there was something about this like powdered peanut butter where it was like, basically it was like 2 tablespoons of the peanut butter powder, and then there was 1 tablespoon of water, and then you just mix it together, but it tasted so fucking good. Granted, this one specifically was like, it had coconut sugar in it, so I don't know if that's, I assume that's much different than cane sugar to a degree, I don't know, but it tasted so fucking good. Bro, turn this live stream into a politics issue. Who's talking politics? I tend to avoid politics for the most part, just because I don't really think a live stream is going to be the place where you really make the big changes in the world. What's the new drama? Just endless drama. Pradeep took a shit on the carpet, things like that, you know. Jacob with the 2 says, I got this, Joel. Motel is small, hotel is massive. There you go. That's the Merriam-Webster Jacob Bowling dictionary definition right there. And I think I tend to agree.
Hey, listen.
Well, I don't even know what they're talking about. Again, I mean, I don't think my mods are very authoritarian. Like, I don't even really know, like, what specific things they, tend to hide from, chat. Usually if it's just like stuff that's like too creepy or maybe like toxic, you know what I mean? Because sometimes people be saying stuff that's a little bit too creepy, like I get having fun once in a while, and then there's some people that say really toxic stuff, or they're spammy, or even like politics. Like I can imagine that's kind of probably going to not necessarily get you banned or anything like that, but just get you quieted for a bit, because it just kind of deters from like the fun, It's all good. It's whatever. I mean, if you don't enjoy the streams, I mean, the content will always be out in its normal format, which, you don't have to worry about any sort of like community or, rules or anything. You just enjoy the content of spooky stories on the internet. So is this Jotel? Is Joel in everyone's room waiting to give messages? Yeah, I leave a small piece of myself like chocolate on your pillow. But let me warn you, it's not chocolate. It's skin. Only when I get back to the room do I realize that the fire had been set in one of the small metal trash cans that was in each person's room. Someone had obviously filled the thing with God knows what, placed it in the center of the room, and then just this. Someone had obviously filled the thing with God knows what, placed it in the center of the room, then just set the thing on fire before bailing out of the room. Then, right as I'm thinking, why would someone do that? I realized someone had arranged a bunch of stuff around the room. There were clothes, kids' clothes, and interspersed. I am excited about the current thing. I fell asleep during your stories for my nap and had such a weird dream. Yeah, that's my special power. I know how to get inside of your head. There were clothes, kid clothes, and interspersed among them were a bunch of what looked like kids' drawings. Then when I checked out what the drawings were of, I realized it wasn't just the fire department that should be on their way. It was the cops, too. The drawings were of kids in cages, or sad, crying kids with big, angry-looking grown-ups towering over them. Then another was of what seemed to be one kid crying over a dead kid while the grown-up figures laughed. Seriously, they were so horrific that despite the heat and smoke still circulating in the room, I felt a little chill go down my spine. I immediately went to call the cops, then checked who was booked into the room and, more importantly, if any kids were booked in there too. There was just one guy's name in there, Cameron Odell. So what was one lone guy doing with so many kids' clothes? The drawings were horrifying, but it wasn't out of the question that an adult could have been responsible for them. The clothes, though, that was a different story. Right after the fire department arrived and they were checking the room over to confirm it was safe for the other guests to head back to their rooms, I asked the group of guests in the parking lot if there was a Cameron Odell among them. No one spoke up or raised a hand, and no one by the name or any other name booked another room after everything died down, so I'm guessing whoever was calling themselves by that name had gotten out of there following the fire. The cops showed up a short while after the fire department did, and I showed them all the clothes and drawings I'd found, along with the booking under the Odell name. Officially, their investigation would involve looking for potential arson, but the cops told me that they'd be looking into the clothes and drawings too if they ever caught the guy who tried to set the room on fire. And that was pretty much the last I heard of it. For the first few weeks that followed, I kept asking my uncle if they'd caught the guy who'd set the room on fire. Each time the answer was the same, no. I tried telling him about the kids' clothes in the pictures, but all he seemed to care about was the damage to the room was minimal. That the damage was. Andrew A. with the 5 says, do you believe in ghost spirits and all that? Just curious. You know, I am inclined to believe that there is something paranormal out there due to a lot of other people's, anecdotal experiences. I do realize that, anecdotal experiences aren't necessarily scientific. But I also do realize the sort of power of the sort of replication of science that lends credence to, the concept that spiritualism and those kinds of things aren't true, because obviously our minds as humans are kind of prone towards some weird stuff. But I've had some weird experiences, but at the same time, it's hard to say. It's a weird thing. I sometimes kind of just wonder if we just live in one giant paradox, you know what I mean? Everything just is and isn't all at the same time, and there's really nothing we can do about it. But I feel inclined to believe that there's something spiritual going on out there or happening around us without our knowledge. As to what its purpose is in sort of a grandiose sense, I'm uncertain. But do I believe in life after love? David with the 1. Thank you, David. Darth Nihilus with the 5 says, do you believe in heaven and hell? If so, do you believe in spirits and ghosts? Wait, were you the one that just asked that? Oh no, someone else. That's funny. You're two separate people. Yeah, I don't. Once again, I have no fucking clue. I have no fucking clue. I think it would suck if hell existed. Just because that's a long time to spend.
Listen.
I don't know. Well, at least all the stories would have you believe you're stuck there forever. I feel like it's a long time to spend somewhere just because, because if you think about it, like you're on Earth, nobody really tells you what's going on. Like obviously there are preferred methods in which you should act towards other people, like, the whole like do no harm, don't steal people's shit, don't hurt them, don't cause a ruckus, blah 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 blah. But at the same time, like, it's not like God or whatever, like, aside from like our sort of like instinctual knowledge of what is right and wrong and what we're taught sort of socially from our parents and friends and colleagues and blah blah blah, like those are the only things that really teach us right and wrong most of the time, other than what's sort of built into us. But at the same time, I wouldn't say that, I don't know, you just feel like you have a lot of religions that say like if you're not this specific thing, you're stuck here in this afterlife that you didn't even know existed forever. So then just based on like to keep my own sanity, I would be more inclined to think that those things don't exist, so that I don't ruminate on the thought that I'm going to go there after death. Because I think that's the tough thing about religion, is oftentimes you like ruminate on the negative aspects of it, and try to like build your whole worldview all around this one particular like philosophy that more or less is like fantastical to the extreme. And it's just like, eventually you just got to go play some fucking Hearthstone or something, or go jerk off, because it's just so hard to like wrap your head around everything. Just go eat some fucking peanut butter powder. You going to a move day Tuesday? Sterile. That's cool. It's going to be like a sterile movie theater. You walk in with like gloves, a suit, like a hazmat suit. The entire theater is just like bleached white. You go to put popcorn in your face, but you can't fit it because you're wearing like a full suit, so it just falls on the floor. It's sterile popcorn, sterile butter. The story where the guy drowned in his own cow in the cow feces. Damn, that one really is really fucking insane. But I guess that is more common than you would believe, like within that industry of dairy. Spitting straight facts. Well, that's the thing, is like no matter what the facts that I spit, it's still like, you can't hone. You try to like build up what is concrete reality that we exist in, and I almost feel like I'm more inclined to believe that there is no concrete reality as far as like death goes. I mean, there is that reality that we're all pretty much guaranteed to die one day, unless like, the genome program figures out how to like reverse aging, which honestly, for as weird as reality is, I would not be surprised if they're able to figure out how to like just reverse aging, or at least put it on pause. But that would be interesting. Like, imagine that as like a science fiction story. Like, they put your aging process on pause, but then after like, I don't even know, like a couple hundred years or something, they find out that the side effect of that drug just like causes your body to like burst into flames or something like that, because it just like can't handle anymore. So all of your like DNA just like explodes in like a bunch of guts. Yo, Joel be spitting subjective facts, baby. Let's go. Do I have to die? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess you kind of have to do it, but it just depends on how, and all you can really do is just eat good and exercise and try to be happy and treat everybody well while you're here, and you won't end up as a story on my channel, you know what I mean? And it will be really weird. It's going to be really weird to like think like, if hypothetically this channel exists, 50 years from now, and I'm dying, or like I'm just in a bad way, I'm pissing and shitting and farting everywhere. Like, how do I like pass this on to a family member? Do I just find somebody else that's going to, run that shit? Edgar Morales, the goat. Thank you, Edgar. Yeah, no spamming goats. I appreciate the sentiment, but no spamming. Ashley with the 5 says, would you ever have the guy who does Nuke's Top 5 be a guest on your podcast? Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I never really watched Nuke's, though. I've heard of it, but I never really watched. Isn't he the one that's like, man urinates on... Isn't he that guy, or is that a different one? On fellow passenger because he can't smoke, or something. You treat the body like an amusement park, not a temple. It'll catch up to you, I promise. Can't, man. You're one of a kind. Alright, cool. I'll just leave all these up on the... I do hope that YouTube's like servers or Google's servers never go down, and that these can just like be immortalized forever. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be really interesting, like 200, 300 years from now, the Buttersock cult turns into something pretty neat. And I imagine by that point, we'll be having another cult council election, and the donos will be off the chain. Pass it down to your kids after they're done changing your stinky booty ass drawers. He's a Southern man. He posts ghosts and paranormal videos. Oh, okay, cool. That's awesome. I mean, I definitely would have him on. I'm always open to, collaborations. He actually did a research paper on the interactions of the dead online and the living. It was really interesting. Oh, well, like people who have died and have like an online presence or something? Dude, that would be weird. What if what if I was dead and someone went to like send me like a thank you email and I responded? Sending a fart noise. How many stories we got? This is just story 1, but we got 8. I'm really BSing here tonight. Joel just figuring out how to live longer. Then as one of the preachers come to read last rites, Joel shakes his hand and pow, Joel leaves the hospital living longer. Just shake off all the old saggy skin, right back to my tight, hot skin. Nurse, I need more skin. Really tight, good-looking skin, please. All right, Joel, we'll be around with a skin cart. Darth with the 5 says, last one for tonight, but are you afraid to die? I was back in high school to the point of panic attacks. Yeah, I think so, for sure. I'm like afraid of... Well, it's like I run like through 2 circumstances. I'm like, okay, afraid of death just because it's like the process leading up to death is probably going to be uncomfortable. Maybe. I don't fucking know. Also, just like sometimes thinking like, even just going out and driving, I'm like, fuck, dude, someone could just smash me in the side and I would be like a vegetable or dead, And I'm like also wondering like, well, when you die, is there no consciousness? Or maybe I go to hell and then, I'm stuck there forever because that's kind of bullshit. Or who knows, maybe I'm not afraid. And, well, someone made a good point. If there was no consciousness, it's like before we were born, nobody really contemplated the void, prior to birth. So why contemplate the void after death? Anyways, it's whatever.
Hey, listen.
Death is scary, I suppose, but then eventually you're just like, you do get hit with those days. You're like, fuck, I am going to die. I guess I better get to work, or I guess I better get just doing things that I enjoy, you know what I mean? Go living life and experiencing life. You're more afraid of not dying. Yeah, it would be kind of scary if just like Imagine if you lived like a vampire for a long time and everybody around you died. And I mean, that would be the worst because you live for a long time, but you've had to kill a bunch of people to like keep living, to extend that life. And you almost like in your mind, you're like terrified. You're like, fuck, if I do die, if there is a hell, I'm like guaranteed to go to it because I've just sucked so much fucking blood. Just Stan Oki with the 5 months. Welcome back. Says, I confess I was listening to another live stream. I won't do it again. I love Buttersuck Call. You should never admitted that. It's okay. Who are you listening to, though? Now I must know. Armando with a 5. Thank you, Armando. And Cheese House, that's a great name. With the 7 Canadian says, what is Pradeep's origin story and where did the name come from? Have a good one. Thank you. Yeah, he is a farm cat that my buddy's aunt was raising and basically held him upside down and like to fall asleep in her lap for, from the time it was born. Pradeep. And then we named him Pradeep, or my old roommate named him that because we were watching this show called The Pickup Artist, which was from like 2005. Really funny show, just like so silly. And there was a lot of good shows in like 2005 and 6 that I just like completely missed that are really funny. But it was like this, as in his words, a very tepid wimp named Pradeep on the show, who was one of the contestants that, is trying to learn from the weirdos how to like be a pickup artist and how to get girls and stuff. But he was just like a really funny, like sort of tepid individual. And so they're like, oh, that's kind of like our cat, even though it's like just a small personality trait of like pretty much all kittens. But then I didn't hear it right, and I thought it was Pradeep. I thought he was making like a pun, and I just didn't know. But I was the one that paid the vet bills, so whenever we took him to the vet and stuff, I wrote his name down as that, thinking it was like the pun or whatever. But anyways, he's from India. Not Jackie Chan. Oh, okay. With 5 says, yes, paradoxes are a big part of my philosophy as well. Paradoxes and balance and shit. We are here for no reason, which gives us a purpose and shit. And shit. No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like when someone asks, like, what's the meaning of life? And it's like, well, it's the meaning of his life. The meaning of life is to give your life meaning, And so it is sort of a subjective experience, and there's really no one that can sit there and tell you that it's incorrect unless like you're actually going out of your way to like hurt people, which you can imagine if you're in like a really strong position of power, like politically or something, you could probably do a lot of harm and still consider that your meaning, because no one's like gotten in the way to impede you because you control like the hierarchy or whatever. But yeah, most of the time I think as long as you're doing well for others around you, you have a good meaning. Good evening. It's like 10:39 and shit. That's like one of my favorite videos. Okay, holy fudge. I cannot stay focused. It's okay. I tried telling him about the kids' clothes and the pictures, but all he seemed to care about was that the damage to the room was minimal. Besides, I was his hero, having put the fire out and all, so whenever the subject came up, it was all just backslaps and that's my boy kind of talk. It was really hard to get to any details. Like I said earlier, what I'm mostly left with here are unanswered questions. I gotta zoom in too, my eyes are getting bad. Soccer Savage 72, baby, with this $5 of the weirdest story you have shared. Love you, by the way. Thank you, my friend. Weirdest story I've shared. I don't know. I did just last time read a story about someone drowning in cow shit, so that was weird, but also very sad. I don't know. You guys might be more aware of a story that might be the weirdest in your mind, so you let me know. Like I said earlier, what I'm mostly left with here are, and I kept saying unanswered questions, like a freaking Swede. Jacob with the 5 says, Joel, in 100 years from now, when you and I are long gone, people will watch your streams and realize how that we were powerful cult leaders. We can only hope, Jacob. We can only hope. Like I said earlier, what I'm mostly left with here are unanswered questions and a lot of half-baked theories of what that guy was trying to do. But there's one in particular that really sits with me. If the guy had a bunch of kids locked up somewhere, if it had him, what is it? If it had him that was, or maybe it meant if it was him that was trafficking. The story about Timmy the Rat. Oh yeah, Timmy the Rat. I remember Timmy the Rat. Rat with a bat. Like I said earlier, what I'm mostly left with here are unanswered questions and a lot of half-baked theories of what that guy was trying to do. But there's one in particular that really sits with me. If the guy had a bunch of kids locked up somewhere, if it was him that was trafficking children and he was trying to dispose of the evidence or something, he definitely went about it in a really dumb way. But then, what if he was one of the kids? What is it? Oh. But then, what if he was one of the kids that had been abused, and he was trying to draw attention to it some way? What if he tried to get people to listen to him, time and time again? Obviously, there's a lot to unpack here with that one, and it brings up way more questions than it answers, but I really don't know what else to make of such a creepy situation. I just feel like there's some deep, dark backstory to the whole thing, but for the time being, I don't know what that is. Maybe in the years to come, if the truth comes out, I'll find out just what a crucial incident the motel fire was. Or maybe not. Maybe it'll just remain a mystery, just like so many other things in life. Well, that was one of the weirdest ones I've read, probably, I'd say. Jacob with the 2 says, last story of the last stream was very emotional. Yeah, which one was that? Oh yeah, the one where the dude gets... Wait, was it that one? I don't remember which one it was. Ooh, shit. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Sorry, I feel like I did more of like a pre-war dance of sorts. But Carly, thank you so much for the $30 Reno. Says, just getting us all prepared for daddy's push-ups. Oh shit, I forgot about push-ups. Holy fuck. What are we on this week? Is it 36? 36 fucking push-ups. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like every time I do, I just like have a panic attack. I can't do any push-ups. I can't. But I am curious where my cap out is, where I actually have to start. SJ Curtis with the 5 says, I like the one where the guy was trying to make people into Wendigos in his basement. Which one was that? Make people into Wendigos? Huh. Was that one of the Native American stories, or just like casually turning people into Wendigo? You just twerked with Joel. Hell yeah. You gotta twerk. You're gonna do push-ups with me? You gotta twerk with me. 36. Alright, should we just bang them out? Should I bang them out right now? You guys ready? You got your respective exercise picked out? Let's read. I started lifting weights every time I go outside to smoke. I'm gonna be swollen like 3 days. Hell yeah. Wait, what? So you go outside to smoke, which takes like 5 minutes, right? Or something like that? Like you're just doing like curls or something like that? Or do you go into like a weight? Or you just smoke while you're at the gym? Just on the squat rack with a shit ton of weight on, but you just got a cigarette in your mouth. Oh, try to fuck with me, I dare you. Jacob with the 2 says, it was the dad that got ran over with the tractor. Oh, okay. Thank you for the reminder. It's okay, Joel. Just pretend to doing push-ups. Just do a lot of moaning and groaning. No, this is... I'm authentic. I'm authentic here. You're gonna do some squats? Perfect. I probably shouldn't have drank before I get down on my hands and knees and feet. Alright. 36 motherfucking push-ups. Let's bang them out, baby. clear out some board space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Oh my fuck, dude. Yeah, my... Oh, shit. Okay.
Hey, listen.
That was... I feel like if I tried to do them slower, I would burn out so fucking hard just from trying to hold yourself in position. S.J. Curtis with the two says they were feeding them to each other in a cabin. They were feeding Wendigos to each other? I'm confused. How do you eat a Wendigo? Are you sure that wasn't on somebody else's channel? Fuck, man. What if you occasionally did a live stream calisthenics workout called Get In Swole with Joel? Oh my god. Yeah, what's calisthenics? Is that just like body weight exercises? Jacob with the 5 says, Joel, I am powerful assistant cult leader. I have done the push-ups to prove that I'm still loyal to you. Master Joel. Thank you, Jacob. Oh man, okay.
Hey, listen.
Oh my god, you guys are crazy. Do I need to start from the beginning? Newbie here. Yeah, so every stream for the past, I don't know how long, I've added one additional push-up to my push-up regimen, and we're at 36 in a row, which was pretty fucking hard. And also we're a cult. I hope that gets you up to speed. Okay. And I read stories. This one here, that was about a motel fire and some sort of weird kid stuff. Being, I don't even know. That was weird as fuck. That might have been like one of the weirdest ones I've read in a while. DSTMO with the 2 says, joined at the perfect time, 36 kind of sucked. That's a lot, right? I'm not very, honestly, I'm not great at push-ups, to be honest. You know what I'm even worse at? Fucking pull-ups, dude. Pull-ups are the absolute donkey dick of exercises. It's rough stuff. Okay, so this one is, so I apologize in advance for now. Oh shit. Okay. I pulled my back on that one, but Rosa Diaz with the $30 donation, making it twerk, says, Joel, I know you're winded right now, but I wanted to throw some cash for all the moms today. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you. Yeah, shout out to all the mommies, all the milfies in the audience. I appreciate you. Moms are the backbone of society. So please treat them right. And thank you so much, Rosa. I really appreciate that. It was tough doing a twerk exercise on top of the other exercise. It just shows how bad my fucking cardio is. Like after I do that, it's like takes me so long to get back to baseline breathing shit. Breathing in shit. SJ Curtis with the 5 No, Law, you had a story where a guy had a family in the basement of his cabin. As he killed them off, he made them into food for the remaining captives. Jesus Christ. I don't remember that one. Why the fuck do I read such insane shit? You guys gotta stop me. I'm creating terrifying content. You can only do 14 push-ups. I suck at it. No, it's okay. You do 14, and then next stream or next whenever, you can do 15, and then you just keep adding one more every day. And if maybe you can't get to the next one, you just break them up into sets or whatever. No big dealio at all. Your friendly internet grandma. What's up, grandma, with the 7? Canadian grandma, did you get cookies made for you today, being that it's MILF day? You're a dog mom. Does that count? Am I a MILFie? That's, you know, we'll have to ask the dogs in the audience. I suggest Joel cap at 40 push-ups, then switch to squats. He's got to keep the twerk booty in shape. You know, body, yeah, squats wouldn't be bad, but I'm actually like, I would have to do a lot of squats. Maybe I can double the squats or something. Oh man, that would be fucking hard too. I would probably be PB very winded from that. All right, enough rambling, enough of my bullshit. I gotta read these stories. This is highly important that I stay on track. Weenie Hut Junior type story. I only cried for 30 minutes. Now squats I would do. Well, Hannah, you're supposed to choose an exercise. I can't have my mods getting out of fighting shape in case I need defended. I apologize in advance for not being the best storyteller, but this is definitely a true story. I'm also not my... whoops. It's also not my story as much... Man, I gotta get my brain back in order. Donkey kicks instead of push-ups. Donkey kicks are pretty cool. Just don't get anybody's mouth with it. Whoa, Twisted Technician with a $20. Rena says, hey, let's read. Hope you're having a great night and hope everyone is too. Thank you, Twisted Technician. Always good to see you. Thank you so much. Requirements to be a mod. Those people, actually, everyone in the modding community, we're from the same orphanage, so we got a lot of history going back. I can trust these people with my life. We all were in the chokey together. It's also not my story as much as it is my mom's, who used to work at a motel in California back in the 80s. Anyways, one day a guy shows up to book a room, and I'm just going to refer to this guy as the guest, since I don't actually know his name. My mom got assigned to clean his room on the daily, but as time went by, she noticed that he always had the Do Not Disturb sign up on his room. So even like a week into his stay, she never once had a chance to clean his room. This didn't bother the cleaning staff too much because the way my mom tells it, the guy was always super nice and friendly whenever he passed reception or bumped into... This didn't bother the cleaning staff too much, because the way my mom tells it, the guy was always super nice and friendly whenever he passed reception or bumped into any of the cleaning staff, always apologizing and telling them that he'd just clean up after himself. So if it saved them some work, they weren't exactly going to complain about it. Anyways, there came a point where the guy wasn't seen for a few days, and the Do Not Disturb sign wasn't on the door anymore. So everyone figured that he just checked out and they'd be able to clean the room again. So given that my mom had been assigned to the room like a month before, it came down to her to head over to clean it. As she got to the floor and unlocked the door to the room, a disturbing smell hit her. She couldn't figure out what it was, but she continued to survey the room, which, contrary to the guest's previous assurances, You did those push-ups with me, but you drank too much before that. Yeah, that's what I was scared of. I took a small sip of tea and then got down. I was like, fuck, that tea's gonna like shoot out of my mouth here soon, probably. As she got to the floor and unlocked the door to the room, a disturbing smell hit her. She couldn't figure out what it was, but she continued to survey the room, which, contrary to the guest's previous assurances, was disgustingly messy. Her words were that it looked like someone had thrown a party, even though everyone was pretty sure that no one else seemed to have ever gone into the room besides the guest. Anyways, my mom was still shocked by the smell, so she tried to track it down. Then as she followed the smell, she could tell it was coming from the hotel room closet. When she opened the closet, there was nothing but a wet-looking cardboard box on the ground, and my mom said the smell got way more intense, so she could tell. And my mom said the smell got way more intense, so she could tell it was coming from there. She said she had a strong suspicion that the guests had been using it to go to the bathroom in, so the last thing she wanted to do was look inside it. Instead, she puts on some gloves and covers up her mouth and nose, then picks the thing up to throw it into the trash. That's when she felt how heavy it was, like way heavier than if there was just some feces inside it or something. It was only when one of the other cleaning ladies smelled the same smell that they straight up said, "Somebody call the cops." Apparently, a few years before, this same cleaning lady had found a dead body in a room, as someone had a heart attack with a "Do Not Disturb" sign on the door, and it took almost 2 weeks before they finally went to investigate. She said it was like the exact same kind of rotting smell. Definitely not anything else from the human body, so they called the cops so they could come take a look at it. The cops showed up, cut open the box with everyone watching, then the officer just looked up to his partner with this numb expression, saying, "Call the coroner. We got a 419. A 2319. Remember from Monsters, Inc.? We got a 2319. That'd be funny. It was just like a wet butter sock. Sorry. It's a little disrespectful to the poop that's inside that box.
Listen.
Judith with the 20 says, "Love you," in the butter socks name, or need to keep the stream going for at least another 2.5 hours, my dude. Just leaving my boyfriend's place now. It takes me 2.5 hours to get back home. Oh my goodness. Well, in the meantime, let me twerk. Ooh. Ah. Okay. Making it clap with no hands there. Jesus. My goodness, you guys stacked some big donos right on top of each other. But thank you so much, Judith. And I believe, honestly, this should go for another at least 2+ hours on that drive home. Do be safe. That's a bit of a commute to go see the hubby. But thank you, Judith. And thank you, Maribel, for the twerkable donation of $30. Says it's Mother's Day. I'm going to treat myself and the other mamas and baby mamas out here for a twerk. I think we all deserve it. Maribel, you have earned it. You have earned it this day. This 8th of May, 2022. The twerk that echoed throughout time. Joe, you should do an overnight and we all have an adult slumber party. I don't know if I could stream all night, to be honest. I feel like my throat would be dead. My mind will have gone insane. Jacob would end up becoming God King. There's really nothing I could do at that point. I had to concede power. Otherwise, everything was gonna just blow up. Papacito. The cops showed up, cut open the box with everyone watching. Then the officer just looked up to his partner with this numb expression, saying, "Call the coroner. We'll get a 419. Someone had to explain to my mom that the number was police code for dead body. Only it wasn't like a whole body in there. That much was obvious because the box was too small. It turned out to be just a decapitated head. I don't really know many more details than that. This is almost 40 years ago now, and I couldn't find any internet archive stuff before I wrote this up, but my mom said that there was talk of the head belonging to a call girl who had gone missing a few weeks before. They gave all the guy's info to the cops, but apparently that didn't help. The credit card was stolen, and the guy had used the name on that card. Imagine being the person whose Oops. S.J. Curtis with the juice. Are you a family person? Do anything for your mom? Yeah, I love my mom a lot. Honestly, she's like a like she's like an angel, like an actual angel. Like I always describe her as like old school, just like old school. You know what I mean? Like just incredibly sweet person, just a good person. Imagine being that person whose credit card got stolen, though. One day you think you've lost it or something, and then the next, the cops show up accusing you of having murdered a girl. Mom stayed working at the motel for maybe about a year afterward, and she only quit when she met my dad and moved into his place up in Vallejo. Vallejo? Is that also, that's California, right? Vallejo? Vallejo. Wait. Vallejo, okay. Mom stayed working at the motel for maybe like a year afterward, and she only quit when she met my dad and moved into his place up in Vallejo. That story always kept me from ever wanting to work in a hotel. Excuse me. A Vallejo. That story always kept me from ever wanting to work in a hotel or motel or anything like that, and no matter how desperate for money I get, I think I'd have to be very, very desperate to work anywhere you might see the darker side of human nature. Vallejo is in California, you're saying it correctly. Cool. Thank you. The Zodiac struck in Vallejo. Oh, shit. Do you think... Does that take place in the... Wait, when was the Zodiac Killer? They said 40 years ago. Zodiac Killer. I guess I can just look up. 1969. Wait. Composite sketch made in 1969 based on eyewitness accounts of the Presidio Heights murder. So 40 years ago-ish would be like the 80s, maybe early 80s? Huh. I don't know. It'd be off by like a decade, maybe. I don't know, like to what extent he continued to attack. Although the Zodiac ceased written communications around 1974, the usual nature of the case led to international interest that has sustained throughout the years. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it looks like it all happened in the late, or at least the confirmed murders from the Zodiac all happened in the late 60s. Do more Wendigo stories. Yeah, that would be off by a decade. Valley Joe.
Listen.
Joel, or no, Jesus, sorry. Jacob with the 10 says, Joel, our battle with the sack spots, it comes down to this. I will die so that the Buttersalt cult doesn't die. If that's loyalty, then I don't what is. Hell yeah, Jacob. Thank you, my friend. I used to work at a motel that everyone said was haunted. I must have been there for maybe 6 or 7 months, and I hadn't seen anything of the sort. Granted, I don't believe in any of that kind of stuff, so it's not like I was out there with my spookometer, but... That's... what the hell? Joel is immune to the Zodiac Killer. His sign is a stop sign. Yeah, exactly. He's gonna ask me my... He's gonna be... He's pretty much probably targeting anybody that just... gets their palms read on Instagram or something. Meanwhile, I'm just waiting for my light to turn green. I've seen many UFOs throughout my life. Most were like meteorites or space junk. However, there were a few sightings that were out of this world. Nice. Granted, I don't believe in any of that kind of stuff, so it's not like I was out there with my spookometer, but one night, I had a little run-in with someone that had me questioning my stance on the supernatural altogether. So at this particular motel, we had what was basically an on-site diner that was just across from the rooms, and everything is single story. One afternoon, we were expecting 2 elderly sisters to check in for a few nights. These 2 sisters just so happened to be friends of the owners and fairly regular guests who came to stay on the owner's dime maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Only, I hadn't met them yet, so I had no idea what they looked like or anything. It was way past dark when they arrived, so while they're being greeted by the owner and their baggage is being unloaded by some of the other staff, I get the nod to head up to their room with a bottle of complimentary wine. So, I head to the bar in the on-site diner, grab a bottle of our best wine, 2 glasses, and a tray. It's like a try. Is that like a special wine cork remover? Box of Sorrows of the 20s says, need your opinion. What's your trick to climbing down towers and things in Dying Light? Well, from what I remember in Dying Light, I mean, as far as climbing down, well, I mean, if you're trying to descend really fast, usually there's things you can jump onto, and I think there's a perk that allows you to roll as you get to, land on things, and also, like, cars sometimes can, like, mitigate the damage that you take. But I believe when you're climbing down, you almost have to, like, press the drop button and, like, look down so that you, I don't know, it's almost like you're like, I'm trying to remember. I'm fairly certain if you, like, look down and then press, like, the drop button, it should drop you to that next layer. But most of the time, I feel like the movement in that game doesn't really require, like, that specific sort of, like, traversal of things, especially if you're hanging from ledges. I didn't really actually play that far into Dying Light 2, if you're referring to Dying Light 2, but I think the parkour system is pretty consistent between the two. I'm not absolutely certain. Maybe somebody else would know in the game, but thank you for the 20. Seriously, appreciate it. Thank you, Box. And Jacob with the 5 Joel, I love the Buttersock Cult. I fight for them every stream. I'm glad to do it, and I'll continue to do it until I do it no longer. Guys, you have no idea what Jacob is doing for us all in behind the scenes. Just fighting off hordes and hordes of electronic scam machines. So, I head to the bar in the on-site diner, grab a bottle of our best wine, 2 glasses and a tray, then head to the... God damn it. He's fighting the demons in the spiritual realm. This is true. Oh, you love Dying Light? Yeah, maybe you would know what specifically to do there. I can't quite remember as far as, like, going down, because I feel like I didn't do it very often. So, I head to the bar in the on-site diner, grab a bottle of our best wine, 2 glasses and a tray, then head out of the back door of the diner and around to the back of the motel. This is a pretty crucial part of the story, as I'd been told the wine had to be a surprise. They'd never have accepted it otherwise, and the owner wanted a little showmanship for his friends, or more accurately, to make it look like he'd bothered to put some effort into it prior to their arrival. Either way, it meant that I didn't see the old ladies arrive. Otherwise, this story basically would never have happened. There's basically no one else around, and right after I put the wine into the motel room, I head out intending on scurrying away from the room so that the ladies don't catch me having planted their little gift. Only the opposite way I was due to head, I noticed one of the hallway lights was flickering. I swear to God, it was seriously like something out of a horror movie because I turned to look, and underneath the flickering light, wearing a long, flowing dress, is a headless figure. At this point, it's important to note something about this whole dumb story about the ghost haunting the motel. As legend had it, it was a hanged woman. Is it hanged or hung? I always forget. Maybe they're both. I feel like they're both equally valid way of grammatically saying that. Ashley with the two says, Jake can fight these student loans. Yeah. Good luck with that. That's gonna take a whole ass army.
Listen.
Legend has it that it was a hung woman whose body had gone undiscovered for so long that she'd rotted to the point where her neck basically tore apart from the rot and the strain. Therefore, it was a headless ghost that was haunting the motel. I know that's about the lamest ghost story you've ever heard of, right? But then imagine being me, seeing that headless figure standing under the flickering light, and you can imagine why my heart went from 0 to 60 as I looked at something that I had absolutely zero explanation for. I think I gasped so loud and so much that my lungs felt like they were about to burst, and that caused the figure in front of me to turn around. Okay, it wasn't a ghost, like I said. There's no such thing as ghosts or spirits or anything of that nature. But there is such a thing as osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is a condition that severely weakens the bones of people who suffer with it. And in older folks, it can mean that they end up with some pretty painful hunching postures, or in this old lady's case, bones so weak that she could barely support her own head. This meant that from behind, it basically looked like this poor old lady had no head at all. Anyway, she turns around, gives me this look as if she'd horribly been offended by my terrified gasp, and I'm forced to explain it away like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you startled me. She just frowns, points up at the light, and says something snarky like, better get that fixed, young man, then waddles off along the corridor. I felt like a total idiot. Like I seriously thought I was looking at the very same ghost whose existence I've been blah, blah, blah. He's hanged like a horse. Hanged, dead from hanging, hung, well endowed. I don't think so. I mean, I understand the hung in that well endowed concept, but at least whenever it's like talking about someone that was like executed or something, it would say like he was hung, but by a rope. There's a haunted bridge near where I live where a woman supposedly hanged herself after losing her child. Nuke featured a video of the bridge in one of its videos. Yikes. The two words, hung versus hanged, are both the past tense of hang, but have different uses in a sentence. Hanged refers to death by hanging. Oh. What's the hung, then? Entered a Let's Read live stream he was actually reading. Okay, never mind. You believe it? How do I even get any work done at all? Hanged is actually correct, but hung is fine too. Hanged equals people, hung equals... Oh, okay, so like... Oh, well, you're right then. Wait, so hung is specific to items, but hanged is for humans. Interesting. Like as a penalty or whatever? Hanged is the proper usage for someone hanging from the neck. Interesting. People are hanged. Weird. I wonder why they differentiate it as like... Joel, you do that thing that Shakira did at halftime. What's that? Making sure that my hips aren't lying. You hung a picture on the wall, or you hung out at the mall. Oh yeah, hanged is specific to humans, but hung can be used if one is not aware of that. Ah, yeah. Man, grammar is so weird. You never know what the English language just like sometimes just be kind of willy-nilly. I felt like a total idiot. I seriously thought that I was looking at the very same ghost whose existence I've been denying for months on end. I can't even lie. It was one of the scariest and creepiest moments I think I've ever experienced. Just ask a pirate. Oh, flickering of the tongue. Oh yeah, I forgot she did that. What the hell was that about? That was like 2 or 3 years ago, wasn't it? Or more? I don't even remember. Oh, the one that featured the bridge video is several videos back. Aaron Wilson with the 5. Is this working? Are you going to stream on Saturday for your birthday?
Hey, listen.
Yeah, I think, June 4th. Tune in. What time should I start at? What time do you guys think? I mean, I guess I should, I guess, I don't know. You have an 8 a.m. final and 2 stressed to sleep. Uh-oh. I don't know what to suggest. Maybe take some magnesium. Schick, gym time, let's go. Time to get swoly. Swoly, woly, woly with a dabber ranch. Whatever time I want. Early because you fumble around. You fumble around, Hannah. You fumble D's, just kidding. You guys, well, I have to give you guys time to go buy your alcohol if you are of age. Hey, Meredith. My female shepherd had babies yesterday. 5 pups, but lost 3. The third passed a few hours ago, and I'm heartbroken. Glad you and better. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I feel like that's like kind of a common thing is like with those like larger litters, like some of them not all making it, but yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. But are you going to sell the other 2? Or are you going to raise them? Or what are you going to do? Do you want to add a chat in the week open chat? The week open chat? What do you mean? Is your birthday on June 4th? It is, yeah. June 4th. June 4th. On a Saturday this year. Do it in the AM so you can chill with the fam in the PM. You know, I probably won't be awake in the AM, but I like the idea. You witnessed 2 climbers fall to their deaths. They basically hung in the air from their rope. What the hell? Before falling on the free blast climbing rope of El Capitan in Yosemite. God, that's crazy. I remember, what's that one movie where it was like kind of about climbing and like they went to like Everest or something and there was like nitroglycerin explosions and all that kind of stuff. It was like a brother and sister, and in the beginning the sister found herself in such a rough position where like they weren't both going to make it, so the dad had to like allow himself to like fall. And it just like at the end of the opening clip it just like showed like the dad like landing dead right next to the camera and stuff. It was a pretty rough scene to watch. Your son's birthday's June 4th? Oh, that's awesome. June babies. You're gonna get drunk for the stream? Let's go. Everybody's welcome to, as long as you're drinking safely and responsibly. Do you want to add an additional chat during the week? Open chat. I apologize, Jetta. I had no idea what you're talking about. An additional chat during the week. Open chat. I don't know what that is. Damn numerology. Joel is a perfect 10. What do you mean? Are you going to join in, Hannah and Ryan? Let's go. You guys can actually clank your drinkies together. Oh yeah, you remember that movie? I forget what it's called. Called like Vertical or like Vertigo or something crazy. Cliffhanger with Stallone. I don't think I've seen Cliffhanger, but I've heard of it. I remember it's that one where he's like hanging by like just a few fingers and pulls himself in. 10 out of 10 judges agree that I'm 10 out of 10. Oh, Vertical Limit. Yeah, something like that. Chris O'Connell. Yeah. Okay, anyways. Back when I was college... Fuck. It's like I'm instantly skipped. Back when I was in college down in Florida, I used to work a part-time job at this pretty upscale motel. The motel had this pretty nice pool, and this one time, after a series of pretty gnarly rainstorms, I was tasked with cleaning it. This was really out of the ordinary, as we had an actual specialist that came in when the pool was that bad, but my manager said the guy was up to his eyeballs in jobs and wouldn't be able to come out for a few days, and since it was costing us guests, he told me that I had got it done. Oops. Hey, Sheena Bud with the 2 says, I too am a June 4th baby. Hello, hello. It's interesting. I feel like it's kind of a rare birthday, but I've been seeing a lot of them.
Hey, listen.
Is your birthday June 4th or this Saturday? It is on Saturday, June 4th. Yeah, so June 4th. So, which is not for one. Wait. One. Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 Saturdays from now. About a month. You can assure me that is, in fact, Vertical Limit. Nice. Yeah, there was a lot of like movies like that back in the day. This was really out of the ordinary, as we had an actual specialist that came in when the pool was that bad, but my manager said the guy was up to his eyeballs in jobs and wouldn't be able to come out for a few days, and since it was costing us guests, he told me that if I got it done, he'd let me go early and still pay me my full day wage. Absolutely no-brainer, so I accepted. Then about a half hour into the job, this absolute perfect 10 knockout of a girl around my age comes to the pool in her string bikini and asked how long it'd be until the pool was swimmable. I shrugged and told her I didn't know, that it was taking a long time as it was, and I'd only scooped like a quarter of the debris out of it. But then, to my luck, she seems content to just chill by the pool in one of those sun loungers until I was finished. I got where she was coming from. It was really hot outside, and as pervy as it sounds, I was glad to have some nice scenery to look at while I worked. After a while, she started making a little small talk, and after about a half hour of back and forth with her, I pretty much managed to clear the entire shallow end of plant trash. She then asked if she'd be good to dip her legs into the shallows, and I'm like, sure. But then as she does, I notice a bunch of small, dark things swimming out of one of the filters and towards her legs. She hadn't seen them because she was too busy looking up at me, but I was seriously like, get your legs out of the pool. I straight up screamed it. She looks at me like I'm crazy, and as I had already okayed her putting her legs into the... What the fuck? You walked 2 goats today? Oh, like you just took the goats on a walk? June the 4th be with you. Yeah, I always remember that because my old roommate in college, his birthday was May the 4th, so we were like one month apart. She looks at me like I'm crazy, as I'd already okayed her putting her legs in to cool down, but when she looks down, she lets out this ear-splitting scream, then basically sprints back to her room in tears. If you've ever seen Florida water bugs, now is the time to Google them. If you've never... Fuck. If you'd never seen Florida water bugs, now is the time to Google them, and more specifically, to Google how big they can get. Somehow, I'd never seen those evil-looking things until right then, and Jesus Christ, they're a sight you're likely not to forget anytime soon. Worst thing is, they actually do bite people, which is exactly how they got their nickname of toe biters. They're not dangerous as such, like they're not poisonous or anything, but they're just about the last thing you want to see swimming towards you when your legs. Fuck. They're not dangerous, like they're not poisonous or anything, but they're just about the last thing you want to see swimming towards your legs while you're dipping them in the pool. I'm not great with bugs either, so I noped out of there and told my boss that as much as I appreciated the offer of the day off, I wouldn't be carrying on cleaning the pool that day. He was literally like, you're alright. They won't kill you if they bite you. And I straight up told him that I'd rather be fired than... What the fuck? I don't know why I can't, like... The sentences in this story fuck my brain up for some reason. Life is downhill after 30? I don't think so. I mean... I don't think so. Did I just do a sound effect like you made me jump? I thought somebody was behind me. Huh, I don't think so. I don't think I made a sound effect. Did I make a sound effect? There's a sound effect. He was literally like, you're alright. They won't kill you if they bite you. And I straight up told him that I'd rather he fire me than make me clean the pool while those terrifying little things were swimming around in it. Thankfully, he relented, then told me to close off the pool by putting the... Thankfully, he relented and told me to close the pool off by putting the chairs around it like a little fort until the pool guy could come out and completely drain and filter the thing. Apparently, they're pretty easy to kill just by using vinegar or something, but the pool guy still uses protective gloves and stuff because, get this, the water bugs can fake being dead, then just pop back alive into tricking you into thinking you're safe. That's pure nightmare fuel to me. Florida was fun, and I'm glad I got to experience living there while I was in college, but I sure don't miss all the tropical wildlife down there, and seriously, if I never have to look at another water bug for the rest of my freaking life, it'll still be too soon. I'm gonna look that up. I don't think I've ever heard of a water bug. Water bug. Ew, what the fuck is that shit? Ew. Oh my god. Oh my god, they're fucking huge. They're like half the size of your palm. Oh my god, that one's massive. Oh my god. If that thing fucking came at you in the pool, for some reason in my head, I just thought they were like this like translucent, gooey things, but what the fuck? That's disgusting. Yuck. It reminds me of the shit from Starship Troopers, like that carry the brain bug around and shit. You remember those? Hey Liv, good luck to you. I'm sure you'll do great. Water bugs, yikes. D-Shore with a 10-16. Thank you, D-Shore. Thank you, thank you.
Listen.
Back when I was still getting more... Fuck. It is literally a water cockroach. That's literally what it is, but they got like these like frontal arms that look like they could like crack bone. Back when I was still getting some money together for college, one of the 2 jobs I worked was as housekeeping for a motel chain. It was on that job that I saw some of the weirdest, creepiest things I've ever put eyes on, and to this day it remains unexplained. I'm not suggesting what I saw was in any way supernatural, as I'm sure there's a perfectly logical and reasonable explanation for it, especially in a county with a real bad meth problem such as this one. But it definitely left me and my coworkers on edge for a few hours afterward. So, we're going from room to room, knocking on doors, calling out housekeeping and that whole ordeal. Me and my coworkers were leapfrogging each other, so doing every 3rd room or so as we worked our way along a corridor. Then as we're working, just hear one of my... Then, as we're working, I just hear one of my coworkers say, "Ay, Dios mío," which for those of you that don't know means, "Oh my God," in Spanish. Obviously, the other two of us come running to see what our coworker is so startled about, and I remember arriving in the room and just not being able to see what she was so freaked out about. The place was basically clean, apart from one broken window which was broken right at the top. The windows started about chest height, then went all the way up to the ceiling to let all this nice natural light into the room. Only when I looked right up did I actually see what she was so freaked out about. Leading up to the broken window, right on the ceiling, were dirty footprints, super visible against the pale paint on the ceiling. The two of us that came running were like, "How in God's name?" But the poor Honduran lady we used to work with was basically convinced it was a demon or something that had run along the ceiling before diving out of the window. A much more logical explanation. Dios mío. You live in Florida and never seen them? Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're like South Florida, real South Florida. I don't even know. A much more logical explanation, but granted still kind of crazy, would be that two what? A much more logical explanation, but granted still kind of crazy, would be that maybe two meth heads had been just throwing each other around on the bed, and that one of them had been actually able to kind of momentarily run along the ceiling for a second before crashing back down. Maybe that's how the window ended up getting broken too. But there was definitely no blood or anything to suggest that some kind of crazy accident had occurred. I guess the really creepy thing was seeing how freaked out her coworker was, how she kept clutching the cross around her neck and saying little prayers to herself. She seriously thought that something evil had been in there, and we actually had to talk her down and explain that weirder things happen when people are cranked out of their minds. She just wasn't buying it though, and she always refused to clean that room for the rest of the time I worked there. I cleaned it on many an occasion, and nothing weird ever happened while I was in there. That throwing each other up in the air thing was legit the only thing. That throwing each other up in the air thing was honestly the only way I've ever been able to explain it though. And I guess meth makes you do crazy things, but good God, playing at running on the ceiling is a... Playing at? What does that mean, playing at? That throwing each other up in the air thing was honestly the only way I've ever been able to explain it though, and I guess meth makes you do crazy things. But good God, running on the ceiling is a whole other level of crazy. Dios mío. Itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow purple polka dot bikini. I guess meth makes you do crazy things. Meth is a hell of a drug. The handle bugs? What's a handle bug? I'm Rick James, bitch. What do the 5 fingers say to the face? It all started when I woke up to the sound of someone hammering on my apartment door. That was the first fright I got that night. heart pounding in my chest as I grabbed the bat I kept under my bed and headed towards the door. First thing I do is look through the peephole to make sure it's not anyone sketchy, but I'm greeted by the sight of one of my neighbors. She looks terrified. She's covered in blood, and I can see just through the peephole that her face is a mess. I open up the door, she runs inside and immediately says, "You gotta get me out of here. My boyfriend's trying to kill me." I start to ask her what happened, and she says something like, "There's no time. Just please get me out of here. I swear to God, he'll kill you too for just helping me." That was what sent me into a straight-up panic, because if a guy was willing to beat his girlfriend up that badly, Lord knows what he'd be willing to put me in the ground. Lord knows. Oh. Jacob of the Fives, Joel, you are the greatest narrator alive today. Right now, I don't need to be a moderator. I sit at your right hand, so that's good enough. Oh, thank you, Jacob. And S.J. Curtis with the two says, where do you get music from? Do you make it? The current music, actually, yeah, it's a commissioned track from Simon DB. He helps remaster my podcast and stuff. But a lot of the music you might hear in the normal YouTube videos is from Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse. He does a lot of like long, dark ambient stuff. Really, really talented dark ambient artist that you should definitely check out. And yeah. That was the first night I got a pound. That was what sent me into a straight-up panic, because if a guy was willing to beat his girlfriend up that badly, Lord knows that he'd be... Oh. Lord knows that he'd be willing to put me in the ground. I just grabbed my car keys, ran downstairs with the girl following close behind, jumped into my car, then took off into the night. I remember asking her if she had anywhere I could take her, like a friend's or a relative's or something. She said no, and the best thing for us to do would be to drive to a motel so she could call the cops from there. So that's exactly what I did. I drove us to a motel and booked us a room. The clerk was obviously just as concerned as I was, but all it took was to explain that her boyfriend had tried to off her, and they were like, "Jeez, make sure you guys call the cops at least." The girl, whose name I didn't know at that point, I just knew she was a neighbor, said that she'd go up to the room and call them, then asked me to get her some ice from the ice machine. The ice machine. Fuck! The girl, whose name I didn't know at that point, I just knew she was a neighbor, said that she'd go up to the room and call them, then asked me to get her some ice from the ice machine so she could deal with the swelling on her face. When I got to the room, she said the cops would be there ASAP, took the ice, put it on her face, then just burst into tears. I tried my best to reassure her, telling her she was safe and stuff. Then, when she finally calmed down, I asked her what actually happened back at her apartment. She told me her boyfriend was abusive, and that she'd been planning on leaving for a while, but that night was the night she'd finally got the courage together to announce it to him. She said he walked into their bedroom to find her packing a bag, and not long after that, everything went to chaos. She started helping herself to the little bottle of liquor from the minibar, but not after promising she'd pay me back for them once everything had blown over. I had no reason to disbelieve her at the time. I mean, I felt like we had a kind of bond established already, but I abstained because I thought I'd be driving back to the apartment pretty soon. I asked her if she was good to wait on her own while the cops drove out to her, but she asked me if I'd stay to keep her safe. She then made the point that if her boyfriend found the blood in my apartment door, she assured me that she left some of their Midnight Syndicate. That sounds familiar. What is that? She then made the point that if her boyfriend found the blood on my apartment door, she assured me that she'd left some on there while hammering on it, that he'd know she'd been there and he'd try to attack me, or worse. I'll be honest, I thought it was a pretty good point at the time. I hadn't seen the blood. Fuck, man. I'll be honest, I thought it was a pretty good point at the time. I hadn't seen the blood myself, but she was so covered in it that I believed her when she said that there was some on my door. Anyway, about an hour goes by and the cops still haven't showed up, and the motel rooms were arranged in a horseshoe shape, so we'd have seen them rolling into the parking lot if they had. I asked her to call them back. to see what was going on, because obviously it was a really urgent situation, and I know that there was basically no way for the boyfriend in finding us, but I was still really paranoid that he would somehow. That's when the inconsistency started, because she gave me some lame duck of a reply like, "I'm sure they'll be here soon." If that was me, I'd have called 911 again. Jesus Christ. Jacob with the 2 says, Pradeep is a killer cat when it comes to rats. Damn straight. He hears all of them in the walls. He really does have like some crazy supersonic hearing. Like he'll hear shit in the walls that I won't even know about, bro. If that was me, I'd have called 911 again if they hadn't shown up within like 10 minutes. So what was she so calm about that she was just cool with waiting for them for like an hour at that point? I put it down to booze, and at that point I was okay with waiting too. It wasn't like I had anywhere to be. I sure couldn't just go back to my apartment with that psycho supposedly just a few doors down. But that's about... Los Borrachos. Sorry, let me highlight where I left off here. But thank you for the 10, my friend. Joe, I don't know how to put this, but do you ever feel weird not having coworkers? How do you manage to stay disciplined with uploading and keep your own self-made schedule? Hope that made sense. Yeah, it's tough, and I think about it a lot because I think about how sometimes people like meet friends, you know, like IRL friends, and they meet like their loved ones and stuff like that through through working together essentially. And honestly, doing my own thing, like being my own boss in some fashions, like it's really hard, honestly, as far as like feeling normal, being very socially isolated. My sleep schedule is usually pretty fucked. I sometimes feel like time is going by really fast, and I'm like not quite like other people, in the sense that I'm like, fuck, like, some of my friends have had kids for like, they have like 6-year-olds by this point, and I'm not really like making, I guess, any progress in that regards because, yeah, like socializing via YouTube just doesn't really exist, you know what I mean? Because you can't just, I can't just like go get coffee with you guys or something like that, you know what I mean? I don't know. It is tough, but yeah, as far as like discipline goes, like, and like staying disciplined with my content output, I have a set time and days that they come out: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 p.m. As long as I can stick to that, that's usually a nice like consistency. But you love being socially isolated. Pandemic was no change for me. Yeah, I wish I was the same, you know what I mean? But I didn't have a good time during that period of time. I was not happy. But at the same time, like, I was pretty socially isolated already, generally from just YouTube and stuff. And I don't know. You told me you were getting married next month. It would be nice. I don't know. Just I don't know. Just to have that like sort of consistency with like a person or whatever. Whereas, because I feel like as you get older, your social circles start to kind of close in, and become less and less outward reaching. Because I was like on a walk today, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I go on the same fucking walk all the time. And it's so boring. I'm like, I haven't been to a party in I don't know how long. I haven't met like any new people in I don't know how long. At least nothing that feels like tangibly relevant. You know what I mean? Yeah, content creation life is fucking. It's cool. Like it's cool like to have you guys and the support and that kind of thing. But like as far as feeling normal goes, it's very far from normal, I suppose. But you know, I guess that's kind of my fault too, because I need to make efforts to just like be more socially outgoing and stuff. It's whatever. I'm just bitching. But I appreciate the question. Do you have time to join a club or sport activity to make social? Yeah, I mean, I joined like, I've been doing, CrossFit, working out and stuff. And I was part of a church for a while, but I stopped doing that a couple of years ago because I just got kind of bored of it. And kind of just tired of the idea of it. But yeah, the current like CrossFit thing that I'm a part of, like, I'm not really sure. Like the social aspect of that is just not quite what you would anticipate. Like it's not a really like regular thing. It's kind of just like get in and get your shit done and get out, so you never really like really get to know anybody. And that's still my fault. I should probably join like another club or something or look into it. It's just... Usually it's like your social circles that lead you to those things. And I just really haven't had anybody that's like been like, hey, let's go to knitting club, or let's go to this cult and sacrifice some goats. Like I probably would be down for that at this point. But that's also about the same time that I started checking out the amount of blood on her nightshirt. She had like an oversized t-shirt and girl boxers on, and like I said earlier, they were drenched with blood, but also with some blood splattered too, like little spots here and there. She had this cut over her eye, and she had a nasty busted lip, but it looked like way too much blood for just those small wounds. So I asked her if she had any the Sexy People Club. Yeah, probably should join that. So I should share it. What the fuck? All the mods are gone now. Oh no, Fry's still here. So I asked her if she had any other kind of injuries, like an abdominal wound of some kind that might account for all the blood on her. She said no, and that it was all from the busted lip in her eye. And immediately I start smelling nonsense. I asked her again what exactly had happened back at the apartment, and she started getting weirdly defensive about what she told me. I was starting to think it wasn't quite the abusive spouse kind of story that she told me the first time around, but I had no inkling of what was really going on. That being said, I was getting tired of waiting for the cops to show, so I decided to call them back myself. All I had on me was my wallet, my phone, and my car keys. The only things. Sometimes I mix two words together. You should be allowed to do that. Just like casually mix words together. Althea with the 5 says, Joey, love you, brother. I honestly believe you'll be okay. You got us to vent 2-3 times a week. And it's cheaper than therapy. This is true. I appreciate it. Yeah. I appreciate it. No, it's like sometimes I feel like I'm like taking the YouTube thing for granted, you know what I mean? Because it's like such a blessing to be able to like do a work from home thing, sort of semi make my own schedule here. I mean, literally, yes. But like, well, you know what? Next week I'm going to go, or this coming week I'm seeing Slipknot, Well, actually, I'm not sure if that's gonna. We'll see. And then at the end of the month, going to Florida. That'll be fun. Visit some friends there. So yeah, you know. Joe, if you get a girlfriend, you'll be like your friends and spend less time with us. Yeah, hopefully she won't be needy, if she even exists. This twerk should be rattling the bones. Join another type of activity. Yeah, I'll probably do that. Do something. Joey's gonna go see some water bugs. Yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be a great band name, like a bluegrass band name, Florida Water Bugs. But like, yeah, being at home 24/7 has its downsides. That's true. I mean, I'm not at home 24/7. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's just tough because it's like I feel like I should move to some place that's just like more exciting. You know what I mean? A lot more activity, a lot more exciting people, maybe more job opportunities within voiceover and content creation and stuff like that. I just like I don't really have a plan or really know what that would entail, you know. And also like city life also feels like mildly excruciatingly painful. Los Barracho with the 5 says, everything you said I related 100% to. I felt the same way. I was self-employed for the last 6 years and fell into depression, and I found your channel. Oh, that's cool. What did you do for your self-employment? Obviously not the depression part's cool, but you know what I mean, like the self-employment thing.
Hey, listen.
But thank you for the 5. And yeah, it's you know, I think the weird thing is like we grow up and school is stupid, homework sucks. No, like you grow up and like everything is sort of like there's like a direction. You know what I mean? Like you go to school, you do more school, and it's always just like there's a direction. They tell you how to do it. They tell you how to live life. There's not a lot of like how to creatively experience life like pounded into your mind, because I think a lot of like parenting sometimes is sort of semi-passive from a very like stringent form of school life and like work life, and there's not a lot of that value of like just go and live life sort of things. But then as soon as you grasp onto this like sense of freedom through like different moves that you make, and then you get that freedom, and then all of a sudden you're like, fuck, what do I even do with my life? I have no idea. Do I like Red Bull? I drink I drink like the Bang energy drinks in the fucking Rain. You ever had Rain? Joel, swear we got to figure out how to get you auditioning for the Discovery Channel's hundreds of criminal-based television shows. You'd be perfect for that. Yeah, you know, I'm kind of in this weird spot where I'm communicating with somebody right now who has an agent who's out in New York, and they're saying like, hey, you know, send me your narration. Like, well, first I'm working on like a book one, like a demo reel of like books. So I'm getting that to them here, or I got that to them. I'm just waiting to hear back. But at the same time, like, it's almost like they're preparing me for a reel that they can show to their agents so that I can be taken seriously, and I understand that process. But I'm just, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people like you talk to in like the voice acting world, and it's like they want you to take it slow almost, and I'm like, I don't want to take it slow. Like just like I wish I could just audition for something, and if you're good, you're good. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like you don't. It just seems like you need to know somebody who can talk to somebody else who can do this and that. Or then if you do talk to somebody to try to like create those connections, it's almost like they don't want you to get your hopes up, or I don't know. It's really weird, the type of advice I've gotten since like attempting to even like dip my foot in the voiceover world. I don't know. It hasn't been very clear. It's been muddy. Jacob with the 2 says, Joel, if you get married like me, find a good woman. I'll do my best, Jacob. Thank you. If I take a selfie with a gator, that would be cool. Step on those water bugs, palmetto bugs. They'd probably pretend to be dead and then bite me in my sleep. Yeah, connections are pretty important. All I had on me was my wallet, my phone, and my car keys. The only three things I'd had time to stuff into the pockets of my shorts before fleeing the apartment. But when I take my phone out to call the cops, she says something along the lines of, "What are you doing?" I state the obvious, that I'm about to call the cops back, and she's like, "Don't." I don't know if it was the way she was looking at me, the way she spoke, or the way she sort of tensed up when I told her that I was about to do that, but the mood in the room just shifted completely. I asked her why not, then just went right back to dialing 911. But by the time the operator spoke down the line, I looked up and saw she had a knife in her hand. She just said, "Hang up, now." So I did. I'd never had a knife pulled on me at that point, and I can't overstate how terrifying it was. It wasn't even just the knife either. It was the overwhelmingly creepy sensation of knowing that wasn't... What? Joe, I'm trying to get something for you through my friend who works for Adult Swim at Nickelodeon. Well, yeah, you don't have to, like... I mean, that would be dope, but... yeah, maybe Nickelodeon needs some creepypasta narrations. Oh, that would be interesting. They need to... Nickelodeon needs to bring back some type of horror-related show, kind of like... What was it? Like, I mean, the Goosebumps was... I don't know what channel Goosebumps was on. I think that was, like, Fox Family or something like that, or ABC Family. And then there's, Are You Afraid of the Dark? That would be dope. But hey, I appreciate it. The thing is like, I'm so inexperienced when it comes to, like, how you're supposed to, like, build your... Because I know you're supposed to have a reel. You're supposed to have, like, and you send that reel to an agent. But you don't want to send it too early, because then they might not take it seriously if it's not, like, up to snuff, you know what I mean? Or, like, demonstrating to them that you're, like, a solid contender for positions and things like that. It wasn't even just the knife either. It was the overwhelming creepy sensation of knowing that all wasn't... Was it? The overwhelming creepy sensation of knowing that all wasn't what... Oh, that I see. It's a saying. They're doing a saying. I have a job interview tomorrow. I'm low-key freaking out, lol. Oh, no, I'm sure you do well. Just be honest and do your best. It's because a mediocre demo reel or an amateurish first appearance can taint your chances right out the gate, so every voice actor voiceover I've talked to says to be 100% prepared. No, yeah, that makes sense. I don't want to, because even though I've done this YouTube shit for a while and people really like it, it still doesn't mean that it's up to snuff with, what the industry standards would be. Jacob with the 2 says, Joel's chills impression is the best. Your YouTube channel is your real... Yeah, I wish, man. I wish that was, as easy. I mean, I think the YouTube channel, from, a business standpoint, even though they could watch and be like, oh, that sounds cool, or that's interesting, it's very specific to just, that one voice and that narration, that character of narration or whatever. But I think when it comes to my channel, the one good thing about the channel in regards to voiceover jobs and stuff is probably advertising, I think, in the fact that I could say, well, I have 900,000 subscribers that would love to hear about this, or would cheer for me if I got into an anime voiceover job or landed something, you know what I mean? Because then I would be excited. I would be excited to, tell you guys in almost, promotional way, hey, go check out this new thing I'm going to be in or whatever. That would be fun. You should do scream in jars and sell your voice. Do I get my voice back, or what if my voice didn't respawn? He's an animator. I guess his girlfriend is going to work on the next season of Rick and Morty. My favorite thing they did was some Real Big Fish album art. Oh, okay, interesting. So your voice like Little Mermaid. Wait, does the girl? Oh wait. Oh wait, she sells her voice, and because she can't talk, right, or something like that. $700 viewers. Yes, welcome, welcome to me rambling about nothing. It wasn't even just the knife either. It was the overwhelming creepy sensation of knowing that all wasn't what it seemed. I wasn't hiding from the threat. I was with the threat. I'll be honest here. I basically begged her not to hurt me, and to my relief she said she wouldn't as long as I drove her to the Canadian border. Given this was in Detroit, the border isn't all that far, but I didn't want to catch charges for aiding and abetting or whatever, so I knew I had to think of something to stop that from happening. It's not like I knew I couldn't tell the cops that I'd been threatened or whatever, but I also knew that the longer I spent in this girl's company, the more chances I'd have of being stabbed. So, I tell the girl that I'd drive her to the border, but that I needed to get something to eat first. I play it like I wanted to stop somewhere on the way, knowing she'd reason me down to getting something delivered from a 24-hour joint. She also stated that she'd be the one going down to pick the food up, as she didn't want me having the chance to sound the alarm. That's where she messed up, because she'd seen...
Hey, listen.
Operator 4307 with the 2 says, go back to school like I did, structure again. No, first off, mad respect, going back to school, that's awesome. It's just that, like, I don't know, I think the second, like, I always thought, like, what if I just worked at, like, a normal job again and just did my YouTube thing there, and just for the sheer fact of getting my sleep schedule figured out. But I know for a fact that the second that I would work like a week at that job, I would probably be like, fuck this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I would just be like, what the fuck am I even here for? Or something, in like a sort of pig-headed way, but you know what I mean? Like, I would just, it's like now that this has worked out, it's kind of like there's like no going back kind of thing. And especially for school, because school would like cost me money, an exorbitant amount of money. I mean, it might be interesting to learn a few things, but I don't even know what I would do to do that. Unless there was like some really cool training pertaining to like voice acting school. I mean, maybe I could do that. Yeah. Do they have voice acting school? I got to do that. Do you like Tales from the Crypt? Man, that was the best series ever. Yeah, Tales from the Crypt is amazing. Grinch impression. What does the Grinch sound like? I don't remember. I forget. Could never willingly go back to school. Yeah, I mean, I hated school. I didn't enjoy learning. And I felt like most of the time, it's not like you're learning, kind of like you're trying to learn how to like, use a program, watching a YouTube video. You're doing all this like busy shit just because sometimes like the classes need curriculum. So it just like takes up time that you feel you're just wasting. Yeah, no, I've already been through normal college as well, so it's like I went almost insane doing that, and that was a pain in the wiener, and then obviously student loans and shit like that. Everybody second guesses their job, even those who love the job. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like that's just life, constantly evolving and changing. That's where she messed up, because she didn't seem to realize, to my infinite relief, that I could order from DoorDash and put something in the notes about needing the cops called to the motel. My whole plan hinged on there being a driver around that late at night, but thank God there was, and I was even able to show her the order without bringing up the notes section that mentioned needing 911 called to the motel. And the cops played it perfectly too. They showed up without any lights and sirens on, didn't park in the lot, walked up to the motel room without being spotted from the window, then just knocked on the door like they were a delivery driver. She walks over, opens up the door, then boom, they had a gun and a taser drawn on her before she even knew what was happening. She had the knife tucked in the back of her girl boxers, but the cops were wise to her. I'm surprised. Didn't the people at the motel know that some shit was going down with her being covered in blood and stuff? Didn't they say? Because they made it sound like they're like, oh, geez, you better call the cops, I guess. Can I do a meta-apocalypse impressions? I don't quite remember what meta-apocalypse sounds like. Let's see, meta-apocalypse. Meta-apocalypse out of context.
That was pretty awesome.
I don't fucking know. I feel like I don't have enough time to like get the characters that, or figure out any of the characters. But I heard that show's pretty hilarious. I need to watch it. Oh god. She had the knife tucked into the back of her girl boxers, but the cops were wise to her drawing on them, and she hid the floor. She had the knife tucked into the back of her girl boxers, but the cops were wise to her drawing on them, and she hit the floor hard after they hit her with a taser. Turned out they'd been looking for her because, get this, she was the abusive partner who'd stabbed her boyfriend almost to death before finding some poor schmuck, i.e. me, to drive her to the border. Dude almost bled to death in their apartment but managed to crawl to another neighbor's place to get help. You should have seen the amount of blood in the hallway when I got back to my apartment building, and the whole place was crawling with cops and forensic gear. I thought I might be able to drive over to a friend's place to stay the night, contaminating a crime scene or whatever, but they had this section of the corridor closed off so I could actually get into where I lived. The cops came to my apartment in the morning to take my statement down and to fill me in on what they thought had happened. That's how I found out exactly what the deal was. It was 100% the craziest, most frightening thing that's ever happened to me, ever in my life. And just the fact that I was part of it seems completely surreal to me. But the thing that sticks with me is how easily I swallowed her nonsense story at first. How I thought it was helping someone I knew, someone I could trust, when in reality, one wrong move and I might actually not be around to tell you this. There's like an extra paragraph of, thanks for reading. I hope that I didn't go into long, include dumb details, and horrifying. I love your channel. Okay. Karina with the 5. You're the Walmart corpse husband. JK. All the love. Fuck. Thanks so much. I appreciate it, Karina. Hope you have a good one. Oh my god. I'm about to shit my fucking pants. Okay. I was trying to throat sing, but it didn't sound great. Okay. But the thing that sticks with me is how easily I swallowed her nonsense story at first. How I thought it was helping someone I knew, someone I could trust, when in reality, one wrong move, and I might not actually be around to tell you this. Jacob with the 2 says, Joker, you do Hank Hill impression. God dang it, Jacob. Quit lying to the neighbors all the time. You're always telling them fairy tales.
Listen.
Crazy stuff about a god dang cult and a cult council. They're not going to believe you. Cults and cult accessories. Did your whistle get your whistle back? I honestly think there's like a large drape. There's like a large drape in front of me. Do you think my whistle could be impeded by the sound waves of that drape? This fucking drape's absorbing my whistle, dude. I'm fairly certain. Summer with the 5 says, I just got out of work. So glad I can make. Oh, welcome, Summer. Good to see you. But Dad, I don't know you. I don't know. I can only ever do like a few lines of a character. I feel like I'll have to like practice it. God dang it. All these people pretending to be a victim of domestic abuse to try to get me to drive them over the goddamn border. Alright, so I think those are all the main stories of the evening. But then there's the true crime ones that we gots to be reading. I gots to be reading them. All right. Enough nonsense. Time for true crime. Time for the truest of crimes. God dang. You still playing with your worm? Hey yo, who up? Who up practicing a choreographed dance with a worm? Me is. True crime time, y'all. Oh, that'd be funny. That'd be a good YouTube channel name or podcast. True crime time. Or criminal time. Or criminals are good. Or no. Criminal poetically discussing crime. Glorifying crime. I don't know. Death metal singing. Grudge sounds. It's a good stream. We got a wide variety. Very eclectic noise selection tonight. Oh, cautionary tales. That'd be good. In September of 1992, a music video company in Nashville, Tennessee, placed a listing in the classified section of a local newspaper advertising the sale of a $30,000 top-of-the-line computer system. The computer in question was an Apple Quadra 950 with 4 GB hard drive and 30 megabytes of RAM. At the time, it was most certainly worth the 5-figure price tag, and there would most certainly be people willing to pay it. But it seems that in this case, there were people willing to kill for it, too. On October 7th, a man who called himself Tom Johnson responded to the ad claiming he was a freelance computer programmer and database consultant who was willing to make the advertisers an offer. The advertiser in question was 21-year-old Jeremy Rolfs, a videotape editor and student at Middle Tennessee State University, and a few days later, Jeremy met with Tom for a demonstration of the Quadra. To Jeremy's surprise, Tom ended up making an offer of $31,000, claiming he was desperate to secure such an advanced piece of hardware. He had just one request, that Jeremy deliver the computer to his office in Marietta, Georgia on October 24th. Marietta was 230 miles away, a drive of the Jacob with the 2 says, Joel, could you do a Peter Griffin impression? Yeah, I guess. Try my best. Marietta was 230 miles away. A drive that would take just shy of 4 hours. But considering Tom was offering $1,000 above the asking price, Jeremy agreed to the proposal. I don't know. I do be trying. This is a cautionary tale about how you should be careful with selling your Apple Quadra with 4 megabytes of RAM. Imagine that, killing somebody for 4 megabytes. Oh, sad. I don't even understand, though, if, like, it was such a high-end computer and stuff. Can it play Crysis? But, like, can it, like, if there, wouldn't it be all based around, like, the, oh, shit. Oh, my God. The sex bots are here. Tinder X, XYZ adult dating site. Sons of bitches. Jacob, I thought you were keeping an eye. I thought you were keeping a lookout for them. Oh, phew. We got him. Thank you, Jacob. Marietta was 230 miles away, a drive that would take just shy of 4 hours, but considering Tom was offering $1,000 above the asking price, Jeremy agreed to the proposal. Then, on the agreed-upon day, Jeremy awoke before dawn in order to make the delivery on time. His 22-year-old fiancée, Heather Olfelman, had agreed to accompany him on the journey, and after just under 4 hours of solid driving, they arrived at a motel called the Knights Inn just off the Georgia section of the I-75. Tom had initially requested the computer be delivered to his office in a large industrial park, but at the last minute, he had called Jeremy to change the location of the meeting to a small motel room. His reasons were that the directions to the industrial park may have been a tad too complex, and to save time and effort, they can meet in a more prominent location. Jeremy was only too willing to agree to this, as it would save him a few bucks in gas money. Yet, little did he know, the change of location meant he was walking into a trap. When Jeremy and Heather arrived at the motel room, the man calling himself Tom told them that his business partner would be arriving shortly to check over the equipment. In the meantime, Jeremy and Heather decided to grab some breakfast while they waited, returning about an hour and a half later. About a half hour. A half hour? An hour? About an hour later. Sorry. Jacob with the 2 says, Joel, the sex bots are here. I'll take care of it. Thank you, Jacob. Whew, thank you. Shoot darts at them. Pop their balloons. What? What's the message retracted? There's like 3 people who have just like retracted their message. Must be 3 people on the same account. Yeah, pop their implants. Oh my god. In the meantime, Jeremy and Heather decided to grab some breakfast while they waited, returning about a half hour later to learn that Tom's business partner was on his way. Tom then suggested, to save time, they could load the Quandra into the trunk of his car to make for a more fluid exchange. It appears that both Jeremy and Heather trusted their potential buyer, as they did so without question. What followed was around 20 more minutes of waiting, and when an exhausted Jeremy grew tired of hanging around, he asked if they could simply close the deal so he could begin the long drive back to Nashville. But to his horror, Tom produced a handgun from his waistband before telling the couple, "I think we can close this deal right now." Tom kept the gun aimed at the pair while he ordered them to wrap themselves up in some of the motel room's spare bed sheets, assuring them that this was only necessary to ensure that they wouldn't pursue him upon his departure. Tom continued to reassure Jeremy and Heather, telling them that the university would be able to claim an insurance check if they said that they had been robbed. The couple were understandably terrified, but Tom continued to reassure them, telling them everything would be fine if they neglected to resist. Yet as they lay there, wrapped up in the bed sheets, Tom produced a hammer, stood over Jeremy's body, and then struck him in the head with it. Jeremy later said he must have been knocked out for a few seconds because the next thing he knew, Tom was standing over a screaming Heather, subjecting her to the same brutal assault. When he tried to tell his fiancée stop screaming and he'll leave, Tom returned to Jeremy and began hitting him again. The couple were able to breathe a sigh of relief when Tom suddenly exited the motel room, yet just minutes later, he returned and began wiping down various surfaces that he touched as a way of removing fingerprint evidence. Once this was done, he brutally attacked Jeremy and Heather with a hammer again, before finally leaving for good. At around 9:30 a.m., a motel employee discovered a severely wounded Jeremy wandering around the parking lot, disoriented and bleeding. Both he and Heather were soon rushed to a nearby hospital, but sadly, Heather passed away as a result of catastrophic cranial damage just 2 hours later. Thankfully, Jeremy went on to make a full recovery and was released on October 27th, but was suffering from vertigo, hearing loss, and severe post-traumatic stress disorder. Outraged at such a brazen and violent robbery. Outraged. Outraged at such a brazen and violent robbery, local police launched an immediate investigation, questioning witnesses and searching the motel room for evidence. They found that one of the few clues that Tom had left behind was the murder weapon. The hammer was still wrapped in plastic with an attached card identifying its weight and SKU number, yet despite this, the police were unable to trace it to its place of purchase. Shortly afterwards, police learned of another curious incident that occurred just an hour or so before the attack. Around the same time that Jeremy and Heather were having breakfast, an unidentified woman had complained of a problem in the motel room which Tom had rented. Somehow, the police then came to believe that this woman was actually an accomplice of Tom's who attempted to sabotage the scheme when she learned that he intended to murder his victims. They hoped that this woman might come forward upon making a public appeal, but most probably out of fear of prosecution, she remained silent and anonymous during the remainder of the investigation. Police then announced that Tom had been driving a black cherry or dark brown Dodge Dynasty with a red interior and Tennessee license plates. According to the surviving Jeremy... According to the surviving Jeremy, Rolfs had... Oh, I see. Wait. What is it? According to the surviving Jeremy, Rolfs had Oh, wait. Rolfs? Oh, the guy they talked to? Wait, who's Rolfs? The advertiser in question was 21-year-old Jeremy Rolfs, a videotape editor. Yeah, wait. According to the surviving Jeremy, Rolfs had sandy brown hair, was in his late 20s. I'm confused what this is saying. Does anybody know what this is saying? I can do a... Wait. Joe, I don't know if you know who he is, but if you can do a Peter Lorre impression. I'm not familiar with Peter Lorre, to be honest with you. Wait. According to the surviving Jeremy, Rolfs had... Wait, so let me just read it to you and you tell me how the hell I say this. According to the surviving Jeremy, Rolfs had sandy... According to the surviving Jeremy, Rolfs, and then it just says, had sandy brown hair, was in his late 20s, early 30s, was around 6 foot tall, and weighed 165 pounds. Maybe they forgot to add the man. According to the surviving Jeremy Rolfs, the man had sandy brown hair, was in his late 20s, early 30s, was around 6 foot tall, and weighed 165 pounds. Jeremy also noted how disturbing it was that the man went from a thoughtful, introspective guy interested in computers to someone who was cold, calculating, and deliberate. The man was evidently a dangerous and manipulative psychopath, and how those that knew him may have been completely unaware of his true nature. Police also announced that there was a great deal of evidence that Tom had attempted to pull a similarly murderous scam just a week before Heather's murder, but for some unknown reason, he failed to show up for the proposed meeting. 2 years later, police announced they finally had a potential suspect, a 49-year-old owner of a Nashville computer company named Thomas E. Steeples. Investigators noted that Steeples shared a striking resemblance to the composite sketch of Tom based on Jeremy Rolf's description. Steeples was already in prison after being convicted of a chillingly similar double murder which had also taken place in a rented motel room. In a rented motel room. Sorry. Sometimes my voice just trails off. Yeah. Wait. But I'm fairly certain that Jeremy Rolfs was the full name of the guy selling the Quadra computer. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Tom Johnson was the responder to the ad, and Jeremy Rolfs was the seller. Steeples was already in prison after being convicted of a chillingly similar double murder which had also taken place in a rented motel room. In April of 1994, Steeples had lured another young couple by the names of Rob and Kelly Phillips, only this time it was under the pretense of offering them a record deal. When they arrived, he ordered them to wrap themselves in bedsheets, then beat them to death with a hammer. Steeples was also convicted of the 1993 murder of one of his business partners, a Nashville bar owner named Ronald Bingham. Fuck. Fucking hell. Steeples was also convicted of the 1993 murder of one of his business partners, a Nashville bar owner named Ronald Bingham. He was also suspected of several... He was also suspected of several attacks on young women, with his own wife testifying that he had tried to assault a woman in their backyard after luring her onto his property. Yet unfortunately, just as the authorities were preparing to prosecute the imprisoned Steeples, he died of a heroin overdose in his cell. Some believe it was a deliberate attempt at taking his own life, as Steeples didn't appear to have developed any kind of drug habit whilst in prison. What's more, the amount of opiates in his system post-mortem was enough to send even the most hardened addict into cardiac arrest. What's even more, they already said what's more, so I can't say what's more twice. What's more, the amount of opiates in his system post-mortem was enough to send even the most hardened addict into cardiac arrest. And Steeples had a chance of being paroled for his part in the Phillips murders, but with a conviction for Heller's... What's another fucking saying for what's more? You're like nachos and cheese to my ears. Thank you. God, a big plate of nachos right now, like good nachos. Dude, they need to figure out like a technique to making nachos where it doesn't like, towards the end, you don't get like fucked, absolutely screwed with like just shitty nachos where everyone has to like dole out who gets like the little last crumbles of cheese and meat or whatever. I'm thinking like what you do is you first do one layer, and then you lather all the shit on there, and then you do another layer of nachos, lather the shit on there. Like, I hate the idea of just people putting nachos down and then just like volcanoing all the shit on top. Like, that's great, but you really gotta, if you want to like have some straight up gourmet nachos, you gotta be thinking about more of the nacho experience than just, you can't be thinking superficially when you're making nachos, you know what I mean? Where's Chef Ramsay when you fucking need him? You love the cheese. Nice. Cheese is very addictive. No beans on the nachos, please. Alright, we'll hold the beans for you. Joel tosses his own nachos and salads. He calls nachos cheesy chips. Can I get some cheesy chips, mommy? Alright, what's more? I gotta find another phrase for what's more. What's more? And what's more? Just wait, there's more. Additionally, but again, also besides, either further, furthermore, maybe furthermore? Yeah, furthermore. Jacob with the 5. Sex bots, you leave me with no choice. I must now be the evil cerebral assassin. I will show you no mercy. Oh my god. Jacob, be careful! Jacob! Jacob, be careful! I don't know if he's gonna make it back. What's more, Steeples... Oh yeah, wait. What was I gonna say? Instead of what's more? I fucking forget. Furthermore. 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 And then it's that picture of that like chihuahua with like nerd glasses on. Furthermore.
Listen.
What's more, the amount of opiates in his system post-mortem was enough to send even the most hardened addict into cardiac arrest. And furthermore, Steeples had a slim chance of being paroled for his part in the Phillips murders, but with a conviction for Heather's killing, that chance would have been taken away. Maybe he thought it was better to just end his life than spend the rest of his days locked in a cage. In her honor, Jeremy and Heather's family later created the Heather Ulfelman In her honor, Jeremy and Heather's family later created the Heather Ulfelman Memorial Scholarship at her alma mater, Middle Tennessee State University. Yet soon, even more tragedy would befall. Oh, interesting. Shit. Yet soon, even more tragedy would befall Steeples' victims. Jeremy Rolfe later joined the Peace Corps as a telecommunications advisor and was sent to South Africa to oversee building projects in the post-apartheid nation. Yet on March 31st of 1997, he was suddenly killed in a traffic accident near Wynberg by a driver who had apparently fallen asleep at the wheel. He was just 27 years old. It's as heart-wrenching as it is horrifying that a man who barely escaped being murdered by a bloodthirsty psychopath then lost his life in such a senseless manner, especially when his killer received no official punishment for his misdeeds. Because the fact remains, as much as it seems overwhelmingly likely that Tom Steeples was Heather's murderer, it was never confirmed with evidence in a court of law. This means that there's a slim chance that the man who killed Heather Ulfelman is still walking among us, and it may just be a matter of time before their desire to kill returns. Jacob with the 5 says, Joel, don't worry, the sex bots have invaded your streams long enough. Time that I end this between the Buttersock cult and the sex bots.
Hey,
Name a
listen.
more iconic duo. I can't. Alright. That is sad. From one tragedy to the next. Lindsay, thank you, thank you. Did everyone take out their trash tonight? I took mine out. And don't be digging through it. I always see when you do. Oh, wait. In the early 1980s, the city of Chicago was plagued by a nightmarish series of horrific serial murder. Oh, poop. Serial poops. Sorry, I gotta blow my nose. Trash day is Thursday? Oh, nice. It's garbage day. It's Tuesday, me blokes. There's poop in the cereal? How much poop? And what kind? What kind of shit are we talking here? I've been investigating this cereal company for years. Sorry. Sometimes, though, whenever I clear my nose, it's just easier to read a little bit. Better airflow. You feel me? You feel me, dog? Body disposal day. Wonder if there's like safeguards and stuff to check for bodies and stuff whenever, like on the trash trucks. Asking for a friend. In the early 1980s, the city of Chicago was plagued by a nightmarish series of horrific serial murders. After being chosen at random, the victims were kidnapped, mutilated, and often murdered. Oh, fuck. Can't even make it 2 fucking paragraphs. After being chosen at random, the victims were kidnapped, mutilated, often murdered, then dumped in various locations around the city. Only one solid motive. Jesus Christ. Jesus, tap dancing Christ. Jesus, Fortnite Christ. Only one what is wrong with me? Only one solid motive was established following the apprehension of the perpetrators: satanic worship. What you're about to hear is extremely disturbing and is most certainly not for the faint of heart. This is the story of the Ripper Crew. On May 23rd of 1981, 28-year-old Linda Sutton was declared missing by deeply concerned relatives. Just 10 days later, her mutilated corpse was found in a field in the Chicago suburb of Villa Park. Whoever had killed her had taken the time to slice off her left. I gotta do a little dance and I'll come back. Oh my god. The 80s Satanic Panic. Yeah, I've heard of it. I've heard of that. Whisper Wednesdays? No. No. I could never do such a thing. People would kill me if all I did was whisper like a weirdo. That would be a good ASMR channel name. The Whispering Weirdo. Whoever had killed her had taken the time to slice off her left breast as a trophy of their grisly endeavor. The following year, during the early morning of May 15th of 1982, Lorraine Borowski was... I gotta make sure I say this right. Lorraine Borowski. Borowski. In German, it sounds like Borowski, like with an F. Why is there an off? Borowski. Why is it saying like an F? Interesting. Borowski. D Shore of the Five says some ask you say moo for their puppers who is not doing well. What?
Hey,
Someone's
listen.
dog's not doing well and you want me to moo? I'm confused. Let's whisper. Whoever's dog is not doing well, I need your dog to start doing well. So be sure to feed them the rest of your Chipotle so that they recover and do well. Joel, actually yes, they are advised to take note of anything suspicious, but they often don't want to dig in and find out. Yeah, that would be not fun. Just dig around there and look for needles, would you? You mean a moo? Dude, just reminded me of my old high school comrade who killed her dad and kid and put them in barrels in the shed behind their apartment. Hold on. Why am I holding on? Hold on, I'm gonna go look in those barrels real quick. The following year, during the early morning of May 15th of 1982, Lorraine Borofsky was opening up her realtor's office when she was snatched right off the street. 5 months later, her body was found lying on top of a grave in a Clarendon Hills cemetery, also with the left breast removed. 2 weeks later, a woman by the name of Shui Mak. What the fuck? Shui? S-H-U-I? Never heard of it. Shui, feng shui. Shui. I guess her name's Shui? What about in German? Feng shui. Shui. Feng shui. Shui? Shui Mac. Two weeks later, a woman by the name of Shui Mac was abducted from Hanover Park, and when her body was found 4 months later, police were forced to accept that they had a serial killer on their hands when they found that the same gruesome amputation had been performed. Just a few weeks later, the killer struck again, dragging a young woman named Angel York into his van before he handcuffed her. Miraculously, Angel wasn't murdered, but suffered horrific injuries when the killer slashed at her left breast with a knife before tossing her out of the moving van. Angel was in the hospital when she was interviewed by the Chicago police detectives who were assigned to the murders, and it was then that she told them something truly chilling. The killer wasn't just some lone maniac targeting vulnerable females. He was being assisted by up to 3 additional accomplices. Angel was able to provide detailed descriptions of each of the suspects, but while detectives were scouring the profiles of known criminals, they were able to kill again. On August 28th of 1982, the body of Sandra Delaware was discovered on the bank of the Chicago River. She had been strangled and stabbed to death, and just like the other victims, her left breast was amputated. This was followed by the discovery of 31-year-old Rose Davis's body on September 8th. She had suffered identical injuries to the other victims, with the same signature amputation having been performed. There wasn't a break in the investigation until December 6th of 1982, when a woman named Beverly Washington was found lying unconscious by a railroad track. She had multiple stab wounds and her left breast had been cut off, but somehow she was still alive. Once she regained consciousness, she was able to give highly detailed descriptions not just of the suspects, but also of the vehicle they were using to abduct their victims. The van was traced to a man named David Gecht, who was promptly arrested on suspicion of murder. Police believed they'd be able to collate sufficient evidence to convict him during his initial period of detention, yet to their frustration, they fell short and were forced to release Gecht after just a few days. Following his release, detectives worked night and day in order to compile more. Can I not squeak, please? Hawk, you just rolled Yahtzee? Where are you playing Yahtzee at? By yourself? Stay away from those titties. Okay. Following his release, detectives worked night and day in order to compile more evidence, and Gecht's undoing finally came in the form of a motel receipt. Police were able to track down the motel's owner, who gave a lengthy testimony detailing Gecht's stay at his establishment. He had rented 3 adjoining rooms with 2 friends of his, holding loud, raucous parties. He had rented 3 adjoining rooms with 2 friends of his, holding a loud, raucous party late into the night. But that wasn't all, and the detectives were deeply unsettled to hear that the motel owner believed Gecht to be involved in some type of cult. After hearing that Gecht was the main suspect in a murder case, the motel owner happily provided police with the names of his friends, those being Edward Spreitzer, Alright, how do I say this one? Oh, Cocorellis? 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 I'm gonna say Cocorellis. I don't know what the fuck that shit is. Some of these last names be nutty. Maybe they have it on YouTube. Thomas Kirk claims innocence. Everybody. Cocorellis. Okay, we got it. After hearing that Gecht was the main suspect in a murder case, the motel owner happily provided police with the names of his friends, those being Edward Spreitzer and two brothers named Andrew and Thomas Cocorellis. After the police picked up Thomas Cocorellis, they forced him to confess that he and the others had taken women back to Gecht's motel room, how the man himself referred to the motel as a satanic chapel. It was there that they drove their kidnapped victims after snatching them from off the street, and although the motel owner had heard loud music coming from the men's rooms, it was merely a way of drowning out the women's screams as they were beaten, violated, and murdered and mutilated. Thomas Cocorellis claimed that David Gecht was the one responsible for the breast amputation and that he used a garrote wire to do so. A garrote wire? Garrote wire. Garrote. Garrote. A method of execution formerly practiced in Spain in which a tightened iron collar is used to strangle or break the neck of a condemned person. The iron collar used for such an execution, strangulation, especially in order to rob. Garrote. Garrote, okay. Thomas Cocorellis claimed that David Gecht was the one responsible for the breast amputation and that he used a garrote wire to do so. After removing them from his deceased victims, Gecht would slice off pieces of the amputated breast before eating them raw, telling the others it was a kind of satanic ritual that they should also partake of. Following this, oh God. Following this, he would touch himself and finish onto the severed breast before playing. Jesus Christ. Following this, he would inappropriately touch himself and finish onto the severed breast before placing them in a sealed box. Thomas Cocorellis claimed to have personally witnessed the contents of this box and claimed that there were no less than 15 severed breasts in it. He also claimed that Gecht practiced He also claimed that Gecht would have his way with the dead bodies of his deceased victims. Gecht was clearly a maniac, but he was also highly intelligent and managed to conceal enough evidence that it was impossible to directly charge him with murder. Instead, he was charged with attempted murder, aggravated kidnapping, and deviant assaults for the attack of Beverly, Washington, and was convicted in 1983. Before sentencing him to 120 years in prison, Judge Francis J. Mannon Port Man. Mahan. Wait, Mahan? McMahon. Wait, McMahon. Man. -1 votes on that one. What about this one? 0 votes. MacMan. 0 votes. Huh. Mahan. This person's McMahon. How do you say it's M-A-H-O-N. Anybody know how to say that one? Mahan? The first name was Mac in that one example that I was hearing said, but it's M-A-H-O-N. No, it's sorry. I know the Vince McMahon thing, but this guy's name is Judge Francis J, and then his last name is Mahon. So it's not like a Mick something. It's I'm not sure if it's Man or Mahan. Mahan was the name of the art building in college. Oh, Mahone? It's pronounced. Mahone would make sense, I guess. But then somebody on here also said Mahan. Mahan. We'll just say Mahan. Mahan. Francis J. Mahan. Before sentencing him to 120 years in prison, Judge Francis J. Mahan. Fuck, I don't even know. Mahan. Mahan. I don't remember how I was saying it initially. Sorry. Well, it was on Forvo. For whatever reason, the guy's name was, his first name was Mac. So that's what I would have thought too, was McMahon, you know what I mean? Because that's how it's the Irish, like, last name. But for whatever reason, his first name was Mac and his last name was Mahan. Or Mahone. I'm going to say Mahone. I don't fucking care, whatever. Before sentencing him to 120 years in prison, Judge Francis J. Mahone told Gecht not even an animal would do these things. Only a devil or a monster would. Next came the trials of Gecht's 3 accomplices, starting with Edward Spreitzer in 1984. Spreitzer admitted that on October 6th of 1982, the gang shot 28-year-old Rafael Tirado and his friend Alberto Rosario at a phone booth in a random drive-by shooting. According to Spreitzer, he was driving Gecht's van with Gecht in the passenger seat when he was ordered to slow down. Gecht then took 2 guns from a rear seat, told Spreitzer to stop the van, then opened fire on Tirado and Rosario. Rosario survived being shot, but tragically, Tirado succumbed to his wounds at the hospital in the hours that followed. In a bid to avoid the death penalty, Spreitzer pled guilty to the murders of 4 of the gang's victims, as well as on the lesser charges of attempted murder and aggravated kidnapping. During the sentencing phase, Spreitzer's attorney argued that he was a junior member. During the sentencing phase, Spreitzer's attorney argued that he was a junior member of the... During the sentencing phase, Spreitzer's attorney argued that he was a junior member of the Ripper crew and was acting purely on the orders of David Gecht. She claimed Spreitzer was immature, impulsive, and simplistic, a man who would do almost anything to please his friend. The prosecution, on the other hand, called Spreitzer every woman's worst nightmare, and labeled his accomplices cowardly weasels who roamed in packs to prey on women. His attempt was successful, and the judicial system took mercy on him, His attempt was successful, and the judicial... Fuck, man. Kampfgruppe Piper, what's going on? His attempt was successful, and the judicial system took mercy on him, sentencing him to life in prison without the possibility of parole as opposed to the death penalty. In 1985, it was Andrew Korakulis. Fucking penis, how do I say shit? Kokoralis, okay. In 1985, it was Andrew Kokoralis turned to be convicted of... Kokoralisist. In 1985, it was Andrew Kokorales' turn to be convicted of murder, assault, and aggravated kidnapping. The prosecution once again sought a death sentence, yet during the sentencing phase, Kokorales' defense attorney took a similar approach as Spreitzer's, claiming that his client had been a follower, not an organizer. Once again, the tactic worked, and the jury spared Andrew's life after deliberating for just an hour and a half. Instead of receiving the death penalty, he too was sentenced to life in prison without parole. However, 2 years later, Andrew was tried for the death of Lorraine Borofsky, and the details of her kidnapping, violation, and murder were too much for the court to hear. It was convincingly argued that Andrew had engaged in inappropriate actions with a dead body, and in light of this and many other perverse details, he was sentenced to death. On the day that he was due to be executed, Andrew declined the offer of a last meal, with his last words being, "To the Borofsky family, I am truly sorry for your loss. I mean this sincerely." He then recited a verse from the Bible, "Repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand." As a reward for his detailed confession, Thomas Kokorales. As a reward for his detailed confession, Thomas Kokorales also managed to avoid the death penalty. At the time of his arrest, Thomas Kokorales was a painter with no criminal record, meaning his trial judge fucking shit. At the time of his arrest, Thomas Kokorales was a painter with no criminal record, meaning his trial judge took a degree of mercy on him that his accomplices did not receive. With an IQ of 75, he was described as having a borderline range of intellect, and was said to be more motivated by fear than any kind of perverted desire. Thomas pled guilty to Borofsky's murder, taking the death penalty off the table in exchange for a 70-year jail sentence. But following good behavior and a successful parole, he was released from prison on March 29, 2019. As of June 30th, 2019, Thomas resides at Wayside Cross Ministries at... That's weird. I don't really want to say his fucking address. Why would they put that there? I mean, I know he's like a criminal and shit, but I don't really think we should be putting people's like home addresses in a video. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of weird. As of June 30th, Thomas resides in... As of June 30th, 2019, Thomas resides in Aurora, Illinois. And in an interview with a local news station, Thomas begged the public to change the perception of him, stating, "Everybody thinks I'm a monster, but I'm not a monster." And despite his pleas, it's both perfectly reasonable and understandable to view Thomas Kokorales as a profane and predatory monster. After all, he was a willing participant in some of the most heinous and horrific murders the city of Chicago has ever known. Thomas was well aware that David Gecht despite his pleas, it's both. I mean, I don't care that it's on Google. I mean, that's probably how whoever wrote this wrote it. But I mean, like, just in my content, you know, I'm not like... yeah, whatever. I don't have to explain myself. Despite his pleas, it's both perfectly reasonable and understandable to view Thomas Kokorales as a profane and predatory monster. After all, he was a willing participant in some of the most heinous and horrific murders the city of Chicago has ever known. Thomas was well aware that David Gecht was practicing cannibalism, all in the same what? What is this saying? All in the same Satan. It says all in the name of Satan, I see. Thomas was well aware that David Gecht was practicing cannibalism and inappropriate actions with dead bodies, all in the name of Satan, and he didn't do a thing to stop it. His moral grandstanding means nothing when he allowed dozens of innocent women to be subjected to some of the most despicable treatment imaginable. The legacy of the Ripper crew is the stuff of nightmares, something that none of us are sure to forget in a hurry, but unlike similar cases, there is no comfort to be taken in knowing that the perpetrators are all behind bars or 6 feet under. And that's because a member of one of the world's most horrific snuff gangs is free to walk among us, having caused untold agony, having taken the lives of the innocent, and potentially having tasted human flesh. All right, we're done. We made it to the end. Oh no, the sex bots are back right at the end. Human flesh? Oh yeah, because they said that they were eating people and shit. Do you think it would be hard to create like an animation studio? What do you guys think? I mean, you just have to like assemble a team, right? Or something like that. And then like, I don't know, what do you do with the movie rights? Do you just like sell it to a studio or essentially just like get funding or something from these studios? Salad fingers on a rusty spoon. See you, Zach. No, it's not hard. Easy peasy. No, I know. I don't know. I was just thinking like that would always be a dream to like start your own production studio, kind of like the Studio Ghibli people. Like obviously their movies are kind of far and few between and they're their very own specific style, but I wonder how many people are involved. Well, I guess you know what? If you ask yourself how many people are involved, probably a fuck ton, because you watch the credits and it's just like hundreds of names of people scrolling down in the credits, so fuck, that would be hard. That would be tard. That would be hard. I don't know. That kind of shit takes some wild level of coordination, but I guess you don't, you know, it doesn't start overnight, but you just build, you start and build or whatever. I don't fucking know what the fuck I'm talking about. But anyways, let's read this outro. Somebody think of something funny to say at the end. Yeah, the bots need to make a living too. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that Bing join button. Dude, I swear to God, like as it's getting later, like all my words just start to fucking slur together. I can't even fucking say anything. Sorry. Remember to God. Hilariously funny comment for the end of this video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about all of the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast where you can hear all of these stories in compilation And check out the Let's Read podcast where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends, and remember, the sex bots are here. In case of emergency break, out the sawed-off squawk gun. Squawk. Remember, remembered, and remember to be remembered. And remember, Jacob with the 2 says Cerebral Assassin is out to fight more sex bots. There's just too many. He must defend his kingdom. Watch out for the water bugs.
Listen.
And watch out. Mama! Oh! Oh! Weenie hot dogs. That's pretty good. Remember, being chilling. And remember, being chilling. Oh, fuck it. Actually, I don't know. The water bugs will get you. Maybe something about water bugs. I don't fucking know. I got a burp. But there it is. Wow, that's exciting. Thanks so much, friends. And remember to eat your weenie hot dogs. I don't know. Nobody else said anything, so that one was the best one. Take care of your throat. And remember, the Alamo. Have you ever seen Triplets of Belleville? It's like you're saying small team took yours to... Oh, it's like you're saying small team took years to make. Oh, no, I don't think so. But yeah, I wonder how much it would cost. I mean, but at the same time, it's like you would have to like do the small team thing before you could convince, I don't know, somebody to invest more in your company. And also, it's like not guaranteed it's going to have a lot of success. I don't know. It's got to be like a passion project, you know. I'd like to see, like, maybe I'll watch a documentary on Studio Ghiblis, see how they like got their start and stuff. I guess everybody started small somewhere, huh? Remember, the 1st of November. All right, friends. Well, thank you again for everything. Really appreciate you all, as always. You're amazing people. Yeah, as usual, I'm going to get this edited up early access on Patreon, and then I will have this video out today at 7 p.m. EST. Stay tuned for that. Follow me on Twitter at Let's Read Creepy to be kept up to date on everything from new streams to new videos. Obviously, hit that notification bell on YouTube. It certainly does help. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Love you. Thank you so much. Something about nachos. Yes. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll see ya again soon.